Picture this. It's a quiet night, centuries ago, in a small village nestled among the rolling hills of rural China. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of jasmine and damp earth, the kind of night where the world feels hushed, as if holding its breath. The moon hangs low, casting a pale silver glow over thatched rooftops and winding paths. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks, then falls silent. A soft breeze rustles the leaves, and in the heart of the village, a family gathers in secrecy, their faces lit by the flickering glow of lanterns. They move with purpose, but their voices are low, their steps careful, as if they fear waking something unseen. This is no ordinary gathering. No, tonight, they prepare for a ritual few dare to speak of aloud: a ghost marriage, a ceremony to bind the living to the dead, to honor those who have passed, to quiet restless spirits. It's a tradition steeped in mystery, in love, in fear, and sometimes, in horror. Welcome to our journey into China's brutal past, where the veil between life and death was thinner than you might imagine. I'm your guide, and tonight, we'll step into the shadows of history, into a world where love and duty could defy even death itself. So, settle in, close your eyes, and let the story unfold. If you're ready to dive deeper into this haunting tale, hit that subscribe button, and join us for more stories that linger long after the night fades. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of that village, the cool night air brushing against your skin. You can hear the faint crackle of a fire, the soft murmur of voices chanting prayers to ancestors long gone. The family at the center of this ritual is not so different from yours or mine. They love, they grieve, they carry the weight of tradition on their shoulders. But tonight, their task is heavy. A young man, barely 20, lies in the family's memory, not in a bed, but in the realm of the departed. He was their son, their brother, taken too soon by a fever that swept through the village like a thief in the night. His name was Wei, a boy who loved to run through the rice fields, his laughter bright as the sun. But now, his spirit is said to wander, restless, incomplete. In this time, in this place, a soul without a partner in the afterlife could bring misfortune, could haunt the living with whispers of discontent. And so, the family has made a choice both beautiful and unsettling. They will find Wei a bride, not among the living, but among the dead. A ghost marriage, they call it, a union to bring peace to his soul and honor to their name. But what is a ghost marriage, you ask? It's a practice that stretches back centuries, woven into the fabric of Chinese culture, where the living and the dead are bound by duty, by love, by fear of what lies beyond. In ancient China, death was not the end but a continuation, a journey into another realm where the needs of the spirit mirrored those of the living. A young man who died unmarried was a tragedy not just for his family, but for his soul. Without a wife, he might wander the afterlife alone, his spirit angry, his presence a curse on those left behind. To prevent this, families would seek a bride for their departed, sometimes another deceased soul, sometimes more chillingly a living woman, bound to a spirit she would never know. These ceremonies were not just rituals. They were acts of devotion, of desperation, of faith in a world where the dead held power over the living. The family we're following tonight, Wei's family, believes this is their duty. They cannot let their son's spirit linger in loneliness. But the path they walk is fraught with shadows, with choices that will test their hearts as the moon climbs higher. The family moves to a small courtyard behind their home. The air grows heavier, thick with the scent of incense and burning paper. Offerings. A table is set with care, plates of rice, fruits, a small cup of rice wine, all for a groom who will never taste them. Beside these offerings lies a wooden tablet, carved with Wei's name, a stand-in for his presence. The family's patriarch, Wei's father, stands tall but weary, his face etched with grief. His wife, Mei, clutches a bundle of joss paper, her hands trembling as she prepares to burn it, sending wealth to her son in the afterlife. Their daughter, Lian, just 16, watches from the shadows, her eyes wide with a mix of curiosity and unease. She knows what this ritual means, what it costs. She's heard the stories of brides taken from graves, of families bankrupted to appease spirits, of women who lived as widows to men they never met. And yet, she feels the pull of duty, the weight of her family's love for Wei. This is their world, a world where the living serve the dead, where tradition binds them like a thread through time. But let's step back for a moment. Away from the flicker of lanterns and the scent of smoke, ghost marriages were not born in a vacuum. They grew from a deep well of belief, from a culture that revered ancestors and feared their wrath. In ancient China, the afterlife was as real as the fields you walked, the rivers you crossed. Confucianism taught that family was eternal, that your duty to your kin did not end with death. Taoism whispered of balance, of harmony between the living and the dead. And so, when a son died unwed, the family's honor was at stake. A ghost marriage could right that wrong, could ensure the spirit's place in the cosmic order. But it wasn't always simple. Finding a suitable bride, dead or alive, was no small task. Families turned to matchmakers, shadowy figures who knew the secrets of both worlds. They might pair to deceased souls, their bones laid side by side in a shared grave. Or, In rarer cases, they might convince a living woman to wed a spirit, her life forever tied to a name on a tablet. These matches were not made lightly. They required negotiation, offerings, sometimes vast sums of money, and sometimes they required darker deeds, graves disturbed, bodies stolen, secrets buried deeper than the dead themselves. Back in the village, the ritual is beginning. The family chants softly, their voices rising and falling like a lullaby. May lights the just paper, and the flames leap, casting strange shadows on the courtyard walls. The smoke curls upward, carrying their hopes to the heavens. Liane steps forward, her small hands holding a red silk cloth, a symbol of the bride they've chosen for a way. This bride is not a living woman but a spirit, a girl from a neighboring village who died last spring. Her name was Zhu, and her family, too, sought peace for her soul. The match was arranged through whispered conversations, through payments made in secret. Zhu's wooden tablet now sits beside Wei's, their names linked in a bond that transcends life. But as the family prays, a question lingers in the air, unspoken but heavy. At what cost does this peace come? For every ghost marriage, there is a story of love, of loss, of sacrifices made in the name of tradition. And as we'll see, not all stories end in harmony. This is just the beginning of our journey. We'll walk through villages where the dead were as present as the living, where families bore unimaginable burdens to honor their loved ones. We'll meet those who carried out these rituals, those who suffered under their weight, and those who profited from the shadows. Ghost marriages were more than ceremonies. They were a window into a world where love and fear intertwined, where the past held sway over the present. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the hidden horror, the haunting beauty of China's ghost marriages. If you're enjoying this journey into the past, don't forget to subscribe and join us for the next chapter, where we'll delve deeper into the traditions that bound the living to the dead. Imagine the village at dawn, the first light creeping over the hills, painting the rice fields in shades of gold and green. The air is crisp, carrying the faint sweetness of dew and the distant crow of a rooster. Last night's ritual lingers in the minds of Wei's family, the scent of incense still clinging to their clothes, the memory of flickering flames vivid in their thoughts. The wooden tablets of Wei and his ghost bride Zhu now rest in the family's ancestral shrine, side by side, a silent promise of peace. But as the sun rises, the weight of what they've done settles over them like a heavy cloak. This is not just a story of one family, one ritual. It's a story of a culture bound by tradition, where the living carried the burdens of the dead, where every action was a thread in a tapestry woven centuries ago. Tonight, we'll step deeper into the heart of ancient China, into the beliefs that gave rise to ghost marriages, beliefs that shaped lives, stirred fears, and held families in an unbreakable grip. Settle in, let the world fade, and let's explore the weight of tradition. The unseen forces that drove people to bind the living with the departed. The village wakes slowly, its rhythm steady as the seasons. Farmers head to the fields, there, straw hats bobbing like lanterns in the morning mist. Children chase each other along dirt paths, their laughter a fleeting lightness in a world governed by duty. For Wei's family, the day feels different. May the mother kneels before the ancestral shrine, her hands folded in prayer. She whispers to the spirits, to her son, asking for a sign that they've done right by him. Her husband, Chen, stands at the doorway, his eyes distant, fixed on the horizon. Their daughter, Liane, sweeps the courtyard, her movements mechanical, her mind replaying the ritual, the chants, the smoke, the red silk cloth that symbolized a union no one could see. They are a family like any other, bound by love, by loss, but also by something larger, tradition. In ancient China, tradition was not a choice. It was the air you breathed, the path you walked, the story you lived. And for Wei's family, the tradition of ghost marriages was a duty they could not escape. To understand this, we need to step back, to see the world through their eyes. In ancient China, life was a delicate balance between the seen and the unseen, the living and the dead. Confucianism, with its emphasis on family and filial piety, taught that your duty to your kin stretched beyond the grave. Your ancestors were not gone. They watched, they judged, they influenced the fortunes of the living. A son who died unwed was a fracture in this sacred order, a soul left incomplete, a family left vulnerable to misfortune. Taoism, too, played its part, whispering of harmony, of yin and yang, of a cosmos where the dead needed the same things as the living: love, companionship, honor. A restless spirit, one without a partner, could disrupt this balance, could bring drought to the fields, illness to the home, or sorrow to the heart. Ghost marriages were born from this belief, a way to mend what death had broken, to ensure a soul's peace and a family's safety. But these beliefs were not abstract. They lived in the stories people told, in the fears that kept them awake at night. Picture Chen, Wei's father, sitting by the fire years ago, listening to his own father recount tales of spirits who wandered because their families failed them. One story told of a village struck by plague after a young man's spirit was left unpaired. Another spoke of a family cursed with barren fields until they arranged a ghost marriage for their daughter. These were not just tales to frighten children. They were warnings, lessons etched into the soul of the community. Chen grew up believing that to neglect the dead was to invite ruin. When Wei fell ill, when his fever refused to break, Chen's heart broke not just for his son, but for the duty he knew would follow. Mei felt it too, her prayers to the gods unanswered, her hands helpless as Wei slipped away. They knew what was expected, what tradition demanded. They would find a bride for their son no matter the cost. This cost was not just emotional. Ghost marriages were a burden that could weigh heavily on a family's resources. In a village like this where every coin was earned through sweat in the fields, the expense of a ritual could be crushing. There were offerings to prepare food, wine, joss, paper shaped like gold and silver to ensure the spirit's wealth in the afterlife. There were matchmakers to pay, their services as essential as they were secretive. And if a suitable deceased bride could not be found, the cost grew darker. Some families turned to grave robbers, men who worked in the shadows unearthing bodies, for a price. Others sought living brides, women who, through poverty or coercion, agreed to wed a spirit, their lives forever changed. For Wei's family, the choice was simpler but no less heavy. Zhu, the girl chosen as Wei's bride, came from a neighboring village, her family as eager to secure her soul's peace as Wei's was for his. The match cost them months of savings, a debt they would carry for years, but to them it was worth it. Tradition demanded it, the spirits demanded it. As Mei tends the shrine, her fingers tracing the carved names of Wei and Zhu, she feels a flicker of hope. The ritual was done correctly. The matchmaker's instructions followed to the letter. The red silk cloth, the burning paper, the chants, they were all signs to the spirits that their son was cared for. But doubt lingers, a quiet whisper in her heart. What if it wasn't enough? What if Wei's spirit still wanders, restless, alone? These fears were not hers alone. Across China, families like hers grappled with the same questions, the same weight. Ghost marriages were not just about love or duty. They were about fear of the unknown, fear of failing those who had passed, fear of a world where the dead could reach back into the lives of the living. In the village, neighbors spoke, in hushed tones, of signs and omens, of dreams where the departed appeared, demanding their due. A sudden storm, a failed crop, a child's illness, all could be blamed on a spirit left unsatisfied. Lian, sweeping the courtyard, pauses to watch a flock of birds rise from the fields, their wings catching the morning light. She wonders about Zhu, the girl now bound to her brother. Who was she? Did she laugh like Wei did, dream of a life cut short? Lian knows little of her, only that her family agreed to the match, that her tablet now rests beside Wei's. The thought unsettles her, stirs a quiet ache. She's heard of other ghost marriages, of living women wed to spirits, their lives spent as widows to men they never knew. In some villages such women were honored, their sacrifice seen as noble. In others they were outcasts, marked by their strange union. Lian shudders, grateful that Zhu was not among the living. But the thought lingers a shadow on her heart. Tradition is a heavy thing, she realizes, a chain that binds the past to the present, the dead to the living. As the day unfolds, the village hums with life, but the weight of tradition remains. Chen walks to the fields, his steps slow, his mind on the debt they owe the matchmaker. Mei tends to her chores, her prayers a constant murmur. Lian dreams of a world beyond the village, but knows her place is here, bound by the same duties that shaped her parents' lives. This is the world of ghost marriages, a world where love and fear, duty and sacrifice are woven together in a delicate, haunting balance. As we'll see in the chapters to come, this balance was not always maintained. Some families found peace in these rituals, others found only sorrow, or worse. So, stay with us, let the story carry you forward, and let's uncover the next piece of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's past as captivating as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us for the next chapter, where we'll meet a young woman whose life was forever changed by a ghost marriage. The sun dips low over the village, casting long shadows across the dirt paths and thatched roofs. The air grows cooler, carrying the scent of wood smoke and the faint temps of the river nearby. In a modest home at the edge of the village, a young woman named Yan sits by a small window, her fingers tracing the edge of a worn wooden comb. Her dark hair falls loosely over her shoulders, catching the fading light. She's 19, her face soft but marked by a quiet resignation, as if she's carrying a secret too heavy to share. Outside, the world hums with the rhythm of eve chirping, a neighbor's voice calling to a child, the distant clatter of a cart. But inside, Yan's world is still heavy with the weight of a decision made not by her, but for her. Tonight, we step into her story, a tale of a living bride chosen for a ghost, a young woman caught in the grip of tradition, her life forever altered by a marriage to a man she'll never meet. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with Yan into a moment where love, duty, and sacrifice collide under the watchful eyes of the dead. Yan's home is simple, its walls of packed earth and beams weathered by time. A single oil lamp flickers on a low table, casting a warm glow over the room. Her mother, Hua, kneels by a small stove, stirring a pot of millet porridge, her movements slow, deliberate, Her father, Bo, sits in the corner, carving a piece of wood into a tool handle, his brow furrowed with worry. The family is poor, their lives tied to the fields, their days a cycle of labor and hope for a better harvest. But tonight, their thoughts are not on crops or weather. They're on Yan, and the matchmaker's visit that changed everything. A week ago, a woman named Madame Li arrived, her silk robes a stark contrast to the village's simplicity. She carried a proposal, one that promised to lift the family's burdens but at a cost Yan could hardly fathom. Wei's family, from the other side of the village, sought a bride for their departed son. Not a deceased soul like Zhu, but a living, a woman, one who would marry Wei's spirit and live as his widow. Yan was their choice. The idea was not as strange as it might seem to us. In ancient China, ghost marriages sometimes bound the living to the dead, especially when a suitable deceased bride could not be found. For families like Wei's, it was a way to honor their son, to ensure his spirit found peace. For families like Yan's, it was a lifeline, a chance to escape crushing debt, to secure favor with the spirits, to gain the protection of a wealthier family. Madame Li spoke of Wei's family's generosity. They would pay off Bo's debts, provide rice and cloth, ensure the family's survival through the next winter. In return, Yan would take part in a ceremony. Her name joined 2 ways on the ancestral tablets. She would live as his widow, her life dedicated to his memory, her future tied to his spirit. It was a bargain struck in whispers, sealed with a nod, but for Yan, it was a sentence she could not escape. She listened as her parents agreed, their voices heavy with guilt but resolute. They believed this was her duty, her way to save them. Yan sets the comb down, her hands trembling slightly. She thinks of Wei, a boy she barely knew. She remembers him from years ago, a fleeting memory of a young man running through the village, his smile bright as he tossed a ball to his friends. He was kind, she thinks, but that's all she knows. Now his name is a weight on her heart, a shadow she cannot shake. She wonders what it will feel like to stand before his tablet, to speak vows to a spirit, to live as a widow at 19. In her village, such women are neither pitied nor scorned. They are simply apart, marked by their strange union. Some are honored, their sacrifice seen as noble. Others are whispered about, their lives a cautionary tale. Yan doesn't know which she'll be. She only knows the ceremony is tomorrow, and the thought sends a chill through her, colder than the evening air. Outside, the village settles into night. A lantern sways in a neighbor's yard, its light dancing like a firefly. Yan's parents are quiet now, the porridge cooling in its pot. Hua glances at her daughter, her eyes filled with unspoken apologies. Bo keeps carving, his knife moving faster, as if he can outrun his thoughts. Yan wants to speak, to ask why it must be her, but the words catch in her throat. She knows why. The family's debts have grown like weeds, choking their hopes. Last year's flood ruined half their fields, and the moneylenders have been circling, their demands relentless. Wei's family is not wealthy, but they have enough to offer salvation, enough to demand Yan's life in return. She understands, but understanding doesn't ease the ache. She thinks of the stories she's heard, of other women who became ghost brides. One, a girl named Chen, lived alone in a small hut, her days spent tending an altar, her nights haunted by dreams of a man she never met. Another, older, was said to have gone mad, claiming her ghost husband visited her in the dark. Yan shudders, pushing the thoughts away. The ceremony will be simple, Madame Li said. Yan will wear a red dress, the color of celebration, though her heart will not rejoice. She'll stand before Wei's tablet, bow to his spirit, and accept a red envelope filled with symbolic coins. There will be no feast, no music, only the low chants of a priest and the crackle of burning joss paper. Wei's family will be there, their faces solemn, their gratitude unspoken. Yan's parents will watch, torn between relief and sorrow, and Yan shall move through it like a dream, her body present but her mind drifting, searching for a way to make sense of it all. She wonders if Wei's spirit will know her, if he'll thank her for this sacrifice. She wonders if she'll feel him, a presence in the shadows, or if he'll remain a stranger, a name carved in wood. The thought is both comforting and terrifying, a paradox she cannot unravel. This was the reality of ghost marriages for the living. They were not just rituals, they were transformations, reshaping lives in ways that lingered long after the incense faded. For Yan, the ceremony would mark the end of one life and the beginning of another. She would no longer be just Yan, the farmer's daughter, but Yan, the widow of a spirit, her name tied to Wei's in the ancestral records. She would live with her family, but her role would change. She would tend the shrine, offer prayers, carry the weight of a marriage that existed only in the realm of the dead. In return, her family would survive, their debts paid, their fields safe for another season. It was a trade, a balance, a reflection of the world they lived in, a world where the living served the dead, where tradition was a chain linking past and present. As Yan lies down to sleep, the lamp's flame gutters casting fleeting shadows on the wall. She closes her eyes, trying to imagine Wei, to picture a face she barely remembers. The village is quiet now, the night deep and still. Tomorrow, she walked to the shrine, her steps heavy but resolute. She'll become a ghost bride, a figure caught between worlds, her life a testament to the power of tradition. But for now, she rests, her dreams a tangle of fear and hope, of a boy she never knew and a future she cannot see. This is just one story in the tapestry of ghost marriages, one thread in a tradition that bound families, spirits, and secrets. As we'll see, not all brides were as willing as Yan, and not all stories ended in peace. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we delve deeper into the shadows of China's past. The village is cloaked in the stillness of early evening, the sky a deep indigo streaked with fading orange. A gentle breeze carries the scent of charcoal and blooming osmanthus, weaving through narrow paths where lanterns glow like fireflies. In a small house at the village's edge, Madame Li, the matchmaker, sits by a low table, her silhouette sharp against the flicker of an oil lamp. Her hands, adorned with a single jade ring, sort through a stack of papers, names, dates, and debts, the currency of her trade. Her face is unreadable, a mask of calm that hides the weight of secrets she carries. Tonight, we step into her world, a world of whispers and bargains, where the living and the dead are bound by her careful words. Madame Li is no ordinary matchmaker. She is a bridge between worlds, a keeper of traditions that others fear to touch. Her role in Yan's ghost marriage to Wei is just one thread in a web she spun for years, a web of duty, profit, and unspoken compromises. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's follow the shadow of the matchmaker into the heart of a trade that shaped lives and stirred the restless dead. Madame Li's home is a place of contrasts. The walls are hung with faded silk tapestries, their colors muted by time, yet her robes are vibrant, a deep crimson that speaks of wealth her neighbors can only dream of. A small altar sits in one corner, crowded with incense sticks and offerings of dried fruit, a nod to the spirits she serves. Her table is scattered with tools of her craft, ink, brushes, and scrolls, listing families, their losses, their needs. She is known across villages, her name whispered with respect and a touch of fear. To some she is a savior, the one who can secure peace for a departed soul. To others she is a specter, a woman who profits from grief, who deals in the currency of the dead. For Yan's family, she was both salvation and sacrifice, the one who brought Wei's family to their door with an offer they couldn't refuse. But who is Madame Li, and how did she come to wield such power? In ancient China, matchmakers like Madame Li were more than mediators of marriage. They were architects of fate, weaving together families, fortunes, and futures. For the living, they arranged unions based on status, wealth, and compatibility. For the dead, their work was stranger, more delicate. A ghost marriage required finesse, a deep understanding of tradition, and a willingness to navigate the shadows. Madame Li had learned this art from her mother, who had learned it from hers, a lineage of women who walked the line between the seen and the unseen. By the time she was 20, Madame Li was arranging matches for the living, her sharp mind and sharper tongue earning her a reputation. But it was the ghost marriages that set her apart. She saw opportunity where others saw only sorrow, a chance to bring peace to spirits and profit to her purse. She knew the rituals, the prayers, the families desperate to honor their dead. She knew, too, the darker paths where to find a body, how to quiet a grieving family's doubts, how to balance tradition with survival. Tonight, as she sits at her table, Madame Li thinks of Yan. The girl's face, pale and resigned, lingers in her mind. She knows the weight of what she's asked of Yan, knows the life she's trading for a family's debt. But Madame Li is practical, her heart tempered by years of hard choices. She tells herself it's for the greater good. Wei's spirit will rest, Yan's family will eat, the village will avoid the wrath of an unquiet soul. She recalls her meeting with Wei's parents, Chen and Mei, their eyes hollow with grief but firm with resolve. They wanted a living bride, they said, because no suitable deceased girl could be found. The cost was high, but they were willing to pay, to empty their savings for their son's peace. Madame Li had nodded, her voice smooth as she proposed Yan, a girl from a family drowning in debt. It was a perfect match, she told them, though the word perfect tasted bitter even to her. She saw the flicker of guilt in Chen's eyes, the tremor in Mei's hands, but they agreed, and Yan, poor Yan, had no say. The matchmaker's work is not as simple as it seems. To arrange a ghost marriage, Madame Li must navigate a maze of customs and expectations. She begins with the families, learning their needs, their losses. For Wade was his youth, his unwed status, the fear that his spirit wandered alone. For Yan's family, it was survival, the chance to escape a cycle of poverty. Madame Li visits both homes, her presence a quiet authority. She speaks of the afterlife, of harmony, of the ancestors who watch. She knows the right words, the ones that soothe doubts and kindle hope. But she also knows the practical side, the cost of offerings, the price of a priest, the delicate matter of a bride. When no deceased match is found, she turns to the living, seeking girls like Yan whose families are desperate, whose futures are malleable. She negotiates terms, sets prices, ensures the ritual will satisfy both the spirits and the villagers' watchful eyes. It's a delicate dance, one she's mastered over decades. But it leaves marks on her soul. She doesn't speak of Dot as the lamp burns low. Madame Li pauses, her brush hovering over a scroll. She thinks of another ghost marriage, years ago, one that haunts her still. A girl named Fen, not unlike Yan, was wed to a spirit to save her family. Fen was strong, defiant, her eyes blazing with a fire Yan lacks. The ceremony went smoothly, the family's debts paid, but Fen never recovered. She lived alone, shunned by the village, her laughter replaced by a silence that chilled those who heard it. Madame Li had visited her once, years later, and found a woman aged beyond her years, her eyes empty, her hands clutching a tablet inscribed with a name she hated. That memory lingers, a shadow in Madame Li's mind, but she pushes it away. She tells herself she does good, that she brings peace, that tradition demands sacrifice, but sometimes, in the quiet of the night, she wonders if the spirits she serves are as restless as the ones she claims to soothe. Outside, the village is dark, the lanterns extinguished, the paths empty. Madame Li rises, her movements graceful, despite her age. She steps to the altar, lights a fresh stick of incense, and murmurs a prayer not for Wei, not for Yan, but for herself. She asks for forgiveness, for strength, for the wisdom to carry on. Her work is not done. Tomorrow she oversees Yan's ceremony, ensuring every detail is perfect, the red dress, the offerings, the chants. She watches Yan bows to Wei's tablet as the families exchange vows and promises. She smiles, her voice calm, her presence a reassurance to those who falter. But in her heart, she'll carry the weight of what she's done, of the lives she's shaped, of the secrets she keeps. This is the world of the matchmaker. A world where tradition is both a guide and a burden, where every choice has a cost. Madame Li is not a villain, nor is she a saint. She is a woman of her time, navigating a path few would dare to tread. As we'll see, her role in ghost marriages was just one piece of a larger tapestry, one woven with love, fear, and the unyielding grip of the past. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we step into the village that never slept, where ghost marriages were more than rituals, they were a way of life. The night is deep now, the village wrapped in a quiet that feels alive, as if the darkness itself is listening. Stars prick the sky above, their light faint against the vastness, while the scent of damp earth and wildflowers lingers in the air. The village of Qingshui, nestled in a valley cradled by low hills, seems to hum with an unseen energy, a pulse that never quite stills. Its houses, with their sloping roofs and mud brick walls, stand close together, as if huddling against them. Unknown lanterns flicker in doorways, casting golden pools that dance on the ground. This is a place where the living and the dead coexist, where every family knows the weight of tradition, where ghost marriages are not just rituals but a rhythm of life. Tonight we step into Qingshui itself, the village that never slept, a place where the past whispered through every corner, where the line between the seen and the unseen blurred under the weight of duty and fear. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk these paths, where every step echoes with stories of love, loss, and the spirits who lingered long after nightfall. Qingshui is alive in its own way, even at this hour. A farmer trudges home, his hoe slung over his shoulder, his shadow stretching long in the moonlight. A woman hums softly as she hangs laundry, the cloth swaying like ghosts in the breeze. Children, too young to understand the village's secrets, sleep soundly, their dreams untouched by the weight of tradition. But for the adults, sleep is fleeting. They know the stories, the ones passed down through generations, of spirits who wander when their needs are unmet. Qingshui is a village bound by these tales, its people shaped by the belief that the dead are never truly gone. Every family has an altar, a small wooden shrine where tablets bear the names of ancestors, where incense burns to keep the spirits content. And in Qingshui, ghost marriages are as common as the harvest, a necessity to ensure harmony, to keep the fields fertile, the homes safe, the future secure. Walk with me through the village, past the central square where a gnarled tree stands, its branches heavy with prayer ribbons tied by hopeful hands. The tree is a landmark, a place where villagers gather to share news, to barter, to whisper of the latest ghost marriage. Just last month, a family near the river held a ceremony for their daughter, a girl who died of smallpox at 16. They found her a groom, a boy from a neighboring village, his bones carefully exhumed and laid beside hers. The village buzzed, with talk not of judgment, but of relief. Another spirit at rest, another family spared misfortune. But Qingshui's history is not all peaceful. There are darker tales, ones told in hushed tones by the elders, of marriages gone wrong, of spirits who refused to be appeased, of families who paid too high a price. These stories linger in the air, as tangible as the mist that rises from the river at dawn. At the heart of the village lies the home of old Zhang, the village storyteller, a man whose voice carries the weight of decades. His house is small, its walls cracked but warm, filled with the scent of tea and aged wood. Tonight he sits by his fire, his gnarled hands wrapped around a cup, his eyes glinting as he speaks to a small group of listeners. They are young men, farmers and laborers, their faces weary but eager for his tales. Zhang's voice is low, almost a whisper as he tells of a ghost marriage from his youth. A boy named Hao, struck down by a falling beam, was given a living girl like Yan who agreed to the union to save her family. The ceremony was flawless, the offerings generous, but Hao's spirit was not satisfied. The girl, Zhang says, began to dream of him, his face pale and angry, his voice a cold wind in her mind. The village suffered a drought, a fire, a child, lost to fever. The elders blamed the marriage, said the match was flawed, the girl's heart unwilling. Zhang pauses, letting the silence settle, letting his listeners feel the chill of the story. This is King Shui's heartbeat, a rhythm of fear and faith. The village never sleeps because it cannot afford to. Every creak of a floorboard, every gust of wind, could be a sign, a message from the beyond. Families like Wei's, like Yan's live with this awareness, their lives shaped by the need to honor the dead. Ghost marriages are not rare here. They are woven into the fabric of the community. When a young man or woman dies unwed, the family acts quickly, consulting matchmakers like Madame Li, gathering resources, preparing offerings. The rituals vary. Some burn paper effigies, others bury bones together, others, like Yan's, bind a living soul to a spirit. But the purpose is the same, to restore balance, to ensure the dead do not linger, their unrest a threat to the living. In King Shui, every family knows someone touched by a ghost marriage. Every home bears the mark of this tradition. Step closer to the river now, where the water glints under the moonlight, its surface rippling like a mirror to another world. Here, a small shrine stands, its stones worn smooth by years of offerings. Villagers leave rice, flowers, and coins, not for anyone's spirit, but for all who might pass through. It's said that the river carries the dead to the afterlife, that its currents whisper their names. On nights like this, when the air is still, you can almost believe it. A woman named Auntie Lin, a widow who tends the shrine, kneels there now, her hands arranging fresh chrysanthemums. She lost her son years ago, and though she found him a ghost bride, she still visits the shrine, still prays for his peace. Her story is King Shui's story, a village that carries its dead like a second skin, a place where love and duty are inseparable from fear. But not all in King Shui accept this way of life unquestioned. There are whispers of doubt, of younger voices who wonder why the living must sacrifice so much. A young man named Jun, a friend of Wei's, lingers near the square, his hands in his pockets, his eyes on the stars. He remembers Wei's laughter, his dreams of leaving the village, of seeing the world beyond the hills. Jun wonders if Wei's spirit truly needed a bride, if the rituals are worth the pain they cause. He's heard of Yan's fate, knows she marry Wei's spirit tomorrow. The thought unsettles him, stirs a quiet anger, but he says nothing, for in King Shui, tradition is a river too strong to swim against. To speak out is to risk the spirit's wrath, to invite whispers of disloyalty. So Jun walks home, his steps heavy, his heart a tangle of loyalty and doubt. This is the village that never slept, a place where the past was as present as the morning mist, where every family bore the weight of the dead. King Shui's Wei, of Yan, of Madame Li, of old Zhang threads in a larger tapestry, one woven with sacrifice and hope. As we'll see, not all threads were beautiful. Some were dark, stained with greed or desperation. But for now, let's linger here, in the quiet of the night, where the village hums with the stories of those who came before. So, stay with us. Let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we delve into the grim trade that fueled these rituals, where bones became bargaining chips in a world bound by tradition. The night is thick now, the village of King Shui shrouded in a darkness that feels almost tangible, like a heavy cloth draped over the world. The air carries a chill, laced with the faint smell of damp soil and the distant smoke of a dying fire. Beyond the village, past the rice fields and the winding river, lies a forgotten path leading to a grove of twisted trees, their branches clawing at the sky. This is where secrets are buried, where the living tread softly, and where the dead are sometimes disturbed. Tonight, we venture into the shadows of that grove, into a world where ghost marriages were not just rituals of love or duty, but transactions sealed in the darkest corners of human desperation. Here, bones became currency, and bargains were struck to appease spirits at a cost few dared to name aloud. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's step into the grim trade that fueled King Shui's ghost marriages, where the line between honor and horror blurred under the weight of tradition. The grove is quiet, save for the rustle of leaves and the occasional hoot of an owl. Moonlight filters through the branches, casting jagged shadows on the ground, where patches of earth lie uneven, disturbed. This is no ordinary place. Villagers avoid it, whispering of restless spirits, of graves that should not be touched. But for men like Deng, a wiry figure moving silently through the trees, this grove is a workplace, a market of sorts. Deng is a body trader, a man whose name is never spoken in daylight, whose work is known only to those desperate enough to seek him out. His hands are calloused, his eyes sharp, scanning the darkness for signs of watchers. Tonight he carries a sack, its contents heavy, its purpose unspeakable. Inside are the bones of a young woman, carefully unearthed from a distant village, destined for a ghost marriage in Qin Shui. Deng's task is simple but grim. Deliver the remains to a family willing to pay, to ensure a spirit finds its match. This is the underbelly of ghost marriages, the trade that thrives in shadows, where bones are bartered like grain. Deng pauses by a gnarled tree, his breath shallow, his ears straining for any sound. He's done this before, countless times, but the weight of it never lifts. He thinks of the girl whose bones he carries, a stranger whose name he'll never know. She was young, he guesses, her skeleton small, her grave unmarked, likely abandoned by a family too poor to honor her. Deng doesn't ask questions. He doesn't need to. His clients matchmakers like Madame Li. Families like Wei's want results, not stories. They want a bride for their departed son, a body to lay beside his in a shared grave, a ritual to quiet the spirits. Deng provides, for a price. His fee is steep, paid in silver or grain, sometimes in promises of future favors. He knows the risk scravarabbing is a crime, punishable by exile or worse, but he also knows the demand. In Qin Shui, where tradition reigns, a ghost marriage requires a bride, and not every family can find one among the living. The trade in bodies was not uncommon in ancient China, though it was rarely spoken of. Ghost marriages demanded a delicate balance, two souls matched in death, their remains united to ensure peace. When a deceased bride couldn't be found through respectable means, through matchmakers negotiating with other families, men like Deng stepped in. They worked in secret, traveling between villages, seeking out forgotten graves, abandoned burial grounds, or families too desperate to care. Some bodies were sold willingly, by kin who saw no other way to survive. Others were stolen, their resting places violated under cover of night. Deng had seen both. He remembers a widow, her face gaunt, handing over her daughter's remains for a sack of rice. He remembers, too, the graves he's opened himself, the earth cold under his fingers, the silence heavier than the dirt he moved. Each time he tells himself it's just work, a service to the living and the dead. But the weight of those bones, wrapped in coarse cloth, lingers in his dreams. Back in Qin Shui, Madame Li waits in her home, her lamp burning low. She knows Deng is coming, knows what he carries. She arranged this deal weeks ago, after Wei's family insisted on a deceased bride for their son. Yan's marriage to Wei's spirit was a last resort, a compromise when no suitable body could be found. But now Deng's delivery changes everything. The bones in his sack belong to a girl Madame Li has named Mei Ling, a fiction to give it remains a story. Mei Ling, she tell Wei's family, was a virtuous girl from a distant village, taken by illness, her family eager to see her soul at rest. The lie is necessary, Madame Li knows, to ease the family's conscience, to make the ritual feel right. She's done this before, weaving tales to mask the truth, to hide the dirt on Deng's hands. She pays him well, her silver coins a silent agreement to keep their secrets buried. But tonight, as she waits, her fingers trace the jade ring on her hand, a nervous habit she can't shake. In the village, Wei's family prepares for a new ritual, unaware of the journey their bride's bones have taken. Chen, the father, polishes the wooden tablet bearing Wei's name, his hand steady but his heart uneasy. Mei, his wife, arranges offerings, rice, fruit, a small cup of wine, her prayers, a soft murmur. Lian, their daughter, watches from the doorway, her eyes distant, her thoughts on Yan, who was spared this fate. The family believes they're honoring Wei, giving him a bride to join him in the afterlife. They don't know about Deng, about the grove, about the earth disturbed under moonlight. They don't know that Mei Ling is a name without a face, her bones a commodity in a trade older than their village. Madame Li will ensure they never do. She'll present the bones with reverence, oversee the ceremony, chant the prayers that bind Wei to his new bride. The family will feel peace, or something close to it, and Qin Shui will move on, its rhythm unbroken. But the grove holds its secrets, and Deng carries them like a weight on his back. As he nears the village, he pauses, his sack heavy in his arms. He thinks of his own family, long gone, their graves far from here. He wonders if their spirits rest, if they needed what he provides for others. He pushes the thought away, his steps quickening. Qin Shui's lights are visible now, faint but steady, guiding him to Madame Li's door. He'll deliver the bones, take his payment, and disappear into the night, his work done until the next call comes. This is the cycle of the body trade, a grim necessity in a world where tradition demands sacrifice. For every ghost marriage in Qin Shui there is a Deng, a grove, a bargain struck in shadows. The village may never sleep, but it turns a blind eye to the cost of its peace. As the night deepens, the stars seem to watch, their light cold and distant. Qin Shui hums with its quiet life, its people bound by the stories they tell, the rituals they perform. But beneath the surface lies a darker truth, one of bones and bargains, of lives traded to appease the dead. Deng's footsteps fade, Madame Li's lamp burns out, and the village waits for dawn, unaware of the shadows that sustain it. This is just one piece of King Shui's story, one thread in the tapestry of ghost marriages. As we'll see, not every family found peace in these rituals, and not every sacrifice was willing. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we follow a family's burden, where love and duty collide with the weight of tradition. The dawn breaks softly over Qingshui, the sky, a gentle wash of pink and gold, as if the world is exhaling after a long, restless night. The village stirs, the air filled with the scent of dew-soaked grass and the faint smoke of morning fires. In the home of Wei's family, the day begins with a heaviness that clings like damp cloth. The wooden tablets of Wei and his new ghost bride, Mei Ling, rest in the ancestral shrine, their carved names catching the first light. The bones delivered by Deng, wrapped in secrecy, are now buried in a shared grave beyond the village, a ritual completed under Madame Li's watchful eye. But for Chen Mei and their daughter Lian, the weight of what they've done lingers, a burden that settles deep in their bones. Tonight, we step into their home, into the heart of a family torn between love for their lost son and the sacrifices demanded by tradition. This is a story of grief, duty, and the quiet ache of choices made in the name of honor. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with them into a world where the living carry the dead like a shadow they cannot shake. Chen stands in the courtyard, his hands rough from years in the fields, his eyes fixed on the horizon. The morning is cool, the air sharp against his skin, but he barely notices. His thoughts are with Wei, his son, whose laughter once filled this house. Wei was 19 when the fever took him, a boy who dreamed of fishing in the river, of building a life beyond King Shui's hills. Chen remembers teaching him to plant rice, his small hands eager but clumsy, his smile brighter than the sun. Now, that smile is a memory, and Chen's heart is a battlefield of love and guilt. The ghost marriage was his decision, born of a father's need to protect his son, even in death. He paid Madame Li with nearly all their savings, a sum that left their fields at risk, their future uncertain. He agreed to the bones of Mei Ling, a girl he knows only through the matchmaker's words. He believes he's done right by Wei, but the cost presses against him, heavy as the earth itself. Inside, Mei kneels before the shrine, her fingers brushing the tablet inscribed with Wei's name. The room smells of incense and polished wood, a faint sweetness that soothes her, if only for a moment. She's lit a new stick of incense, its smoke curling upward like a prayer. Mei is a woman of quiet strength, her face lined with years of toil and loss. She remembers Wei's birth, his first cries, the way he clung to her in the night. When he fell ill, she sat by his side, her hands cooling his brow, her voice singing lullabies until his breath stopped. The grief is a stone in her chest, unyielding, but tradition has given her a way to bear it. The ghost marriage, she tells herself, is for Wei's peace, for the family's honor. She thinks of Mei Ling, the girl whose bones now rests with her sons. She imagines her as kind, gentle, a companion for Wei in the afterlife. But the thought of those bones, delivered in the dead of night, stirs unease. Mei pushes it away, focusing on the ritual, on the hope that her son is no longer alone. Lian, their daughter, moves through the house with a broom, her steps slow, her mind elsewhere. At 16, she's caught between childhood and the weight of the world she's beginning to understand. She remembers Wei, her big brother, who teased her but always shared his sweets, who promised to take her to the city one day. His death left a hole in her heart, and the ghost marriage has only deepened it. She was there when Madame Li came, her voice smooth as she spoke of Mei Ling, of the need to honor Wei's spirit. Lian saw the strain in her parents' faces, the way her father's hands clenched, her mother's eyes glistened. She knows the cost, not just the silver, but the toll on their spirits. She thinks of Yan, the living girl who was almost Wei's bride, and wonders if she's better off, or if her own burdens are just as heavy. Lian sweeps harder, as if she can sweep away the questions, the doubts that gnaw at her. In King Shui, the family's burden is not unique. Every home carries its own story of loss, its own altar to the dead. Ghost marriages are a shared weight, a tradition that binds the village as tightly as the river binds its fields. Chen and Mei are not alone in their sacrifice. Their neighbors, too, have paid matchmakers, burned offerings, buried bones to appease spirits. Across the village, a family mourns a daughter, their ghost marriage completed last spring. Another prepares for a son, their savings dwindling as they seek a bride. The rituals are a constant, a rhythm as steady as the seasons, but they come at a price. For Chen and Mei, that price is not just money, but the quiet erosion of their peace. They wonder if Wei is truly at rest, if Mei Ling's spirit is content, if the ancestors approve. They wonder, too, about the bones, about the shadows that brought them to their son's grave. These questions are unspoken, buried deep, but they linger like the scent of incense in the air. The day unfolds and the family moves through their tasks. Chen heads to the fields, his hoe heavy in his hands, his thoughts on the debt they still owe. Mei tends the shrine, her prayers a soft chant, her fingers arranging fresh flowers. Lian helps her mother, her eyes stealing glances at the tablets, at the names that now define her family's future. The village hums around them, its people bound by the same traditions, the same fears. A neighbor stops by, offering a basket of persimmons, her voice low as she asks about the ritual. Mei nods, her smile tight, and says it went well. The neighbor nods back, her own eyes shadowed with memories of her own losses, her own sacrifices. This is King Shui's way of shared, burdens carried together. Questions left unasked. But beneath the surface, the family's burden grows. Chen lies awake at night, his mind tracing the path of their savings, the years it will take to recover. He thinks of Wei, wonders if he feels the love they poured into the ritual, or if he's angry at the cost. Mei dreams of her son, his face pale but smiling, holding the hand of a girl she cannot see. She wakes with a start, her heart racing, unsure if the dream was a comfort or a warning. Lian, too, feels the weight, her youth no shield against the reality of her family's choices. She wonders what it means to honor the dead, if it's worth the pain of the living. She thinks of the grove, of the stories whispered about men like Deng, and shudders at the thought of bones traded like goods in a market. This is the family's burden, a weight born of love and duty, of a tradition that demands everything. In King Shui they are not alone, but their pain is their own, a quiet ache that colors every moment. As we'll see, the rituals that bound Wei to Mei Ling were just the beginning. A step in a journey filled with shadows and secrets. The village may carry on, its rhythm unbroken, but for Chen, Mei, and Lian, the cost of tradition is a wound that never fully heals. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we step into the rituals that defined King Shui, where the night itself became a stage for the dead. The night falls heavy over King Shui, the sky a velvet curtain pierced by a scattering of stars. The village is hushed, its paths empty, save for the occasional flicker of a lantern or the soft tread of a latecomer hurrying home. The air is cool, thick with the scent of burning incense and the faint sweetness of jasmine carried on the breeze. At the edge of the village, in a clearing near the ancestral graves, a small group gathers, their faces lit by the glow of paper lanterns swaying in the wind. This is no ordinary night. Tonight, Wei's family Chen Mei and Lian stand ready to perform the final ritual of his ghost marriage, to lay Mei Ling's bones beside his in a shared grave, to seal their union in the realm of the dead. The scene is solemn, the air heavy with purpose and something unspoken, a tension that hums like a plucked string. Tonight, we step into the heart of the ritual, into the ceremonies that bound the living to the dead in King Shui, where every gesture, every prayer carried the weight of centuries. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk through the rituals in the night, where love and fear danced in the flicker of firelight. The clearing is small, ringed by ancient stones, worn smooth by time and touch. A freshly dug grave lies at its center, a mound of earth beside it, the scent of freshly turned soil mingling with the night air. Chen stands tall, his hands gripping a wooden staff, his face etched with resolve. Mei kneels nearby, her hands arranging offerings on a low table, a bowl of rice, a cluster of persimmons, a small cup of rice wine that glints in the lantern light. Lian hovers at the edge, her eyes wide, clutching a bundle of jossed paper sheets, of gold and silver, folded to resemble money for the afterlife. A priest, an elderly man named Master Zhou, stands before the grave, his robes dark, his voice low as he begins to chant. His words are ancient, a cadence that seems to rise from the earth itself, calling to the spirits, to Wei to Mei. The ritual is underway, a delicate dance of tradition that must be perfect, lest the spirits remain unquiet. Their unrest a shadow over the village. The ceremony begins with fire. Mei lights a bundle of incense, its smoke curling upward, a bridge between worlds. The scent is sharp, grounding, filling the clearing with a warmth that contrasts the chill of the night. She places the incense in a small burner, its glow a beacon for the spirits. Chen steps forward, his staff tapping the ground, a signal to the ancestors that their son is being honored. He speaks Wei's name, his voice steady but thick with emotion, recounting his life, his love for the river, his dreams of travel, his laughter that once lit their home. He speaks of Mei Ling, the bride they've chosen, her virtues imagined but heartfelt, her spirit now joined two ways. The words are formal, rehearsed, but they carry a father's love, a desperate hope that this act will bring peace. Lian watches, her hands trembling as she holds the joss paper, her heart torn between awe and unease. She's seen rituals before, but this one feels different. Her brother's name, her family's future, woven into every gesture. Master Zhou's chants grow louder, his hands moving in precise patterns, as if weaving the air itself. He scatters salt around the grave, a barrier against malevolent spirits, a protection for those gathered. The salt crunches underfoot, a sound that cuts through the night's silence. He calls to the ancestors, to the gods of earth and sky, asking if them to witness this union, to guide way and mailing to harmony. The words are ancient, their meaning rooted in a worldview where the dead are as present as the living, their needs as urgent. In King Shui, such rituals are not mere tradition, they are necessity, a way to maintain balance, to ensure the spirits do not linger, their anger a threat to the village's peace. The priest's voice rises and falls, a lullaby for the dead, and the family follows his lead, their movements synchronized, their hearts heavy but resolute. Now comes the moment of the bones. Madame Li, ever present, steps forward, her crimson robes a stark contrast to the muted colors of the night. She carries a small wooden box, its surface plain but polished, containing Meiling's remains. The box is a lie, a vessel for bones, bought in secret. But to the family, it is sacred, a symbol of their duty fulfilled. Madame Li kneels, placing the box in the grave beside Wei's, her movements reverent, her face unreadable. She speaks softly, her voice blending with the priest's chants, describing Meiling as a gentle soul, a fitting bride. Chen and Mei nod, their eyes fixed on the box, their minds pushing away questions about its origins. Lian, though, feels a chill, her thoughts drifting to the grove, to the man named Deng, to the shadows that brought these bones to them. She grips the joss paper tighter, her fingers crumpling its edges, her heart racing with thought she cannot voice. The fire grows now, as Lian steps forward to burn the joss paper. She lights the sheets, one by one, watching them curl and blacken, their flames leaping into the night. The smoke rises, carrying wealth to the afterlife, ensuring Wei and Meiling have all they need. The act is mesmerizing, the fire's warmth, a fleeting comfort against the cold. Lian imagines her brother, his smile, his voice, wondering if he sees this, if he feels their love. The flames dance, casting shadows that seem to move with a life of their own, and for a moment, the clearing feels alive, as if the spirits are watching, their presence a weight in the air. Mei joins her daughter, adding more paper, her hands steady but her eyes glistening. Chen remains by the grave, his staff planted in the earth, his silence a prayer of its own. The ritual is a family's offering, a collective act of love and sacrifice, but it is also a reminder of their loss, of the son who will never return. That as the flames die down, Master Zhou raises his hands, his chants reaching a crescendo. He calls for the spirits to accept this union, to bless the family, to keep King Shui safe. The family bows, their foreheads touching the earth, their hearts open to the unseen. The grave is filled, the earth packed down, the stones arranged to mark the spot. The lanterns sway, their light dimming as the ritual nears its end. Madame Li steps back, her role complete, her eyes scanning the family for signs of doubt. She sees none, or perhaps she chooses not to. The night is quiet now, the chants fading, the smoke dissipating into the stars. The family stands, their faces weary but calm, believing they've done right by Wei, by Meiling, by the ancestors who watch from beyond, that this is the ritual in the night, a ceremony that binds King Shui to its past, its people to their dead. It is beautiful in its devotion, haunting in its cost. For Chen, Mei, and Lian, it is a moment of closure, but also a beginning, a new chapter in their lives, shaped by the weight of what they've done. As we'll see, not every ritual brought peace, and not every bride, living or dead, found harmony in these unions. The village may rest, but its shadows hold stories yet untold. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we follow Yan, the living bride, whose fear becomes a mirror to King Shui's heart. The moon hangs low over King Shui, its pale light spilling across the village, turning the rooftops silver and the paths into ribbons of shadow. The air is cool, heavy with the scent of damp earth and the faint sweetness of osmanthus flowers. In a small house at the village's edge, Yan sits alone, her knees drawn to her chest, her eyes fixed on the flickering flame of an oil lamp. The room is quiet, save for the soft creak of the wooden floor and the distant hum of crickets outside. Tomorrow, she will become a ghost bride, bound to Wei's spirit, her life reshaped by a ritual she cannot escape. The red dress lies folded in a corner, its vibrant color a stark contrast to the muted tones of her home. Yan's heart is a storm of fear, resignation, and a quiet defiance she dares not voice. Tonight, we step into her world, into the mind of a living bride caught in the grip of tradition, her fear a mirror to the village's unspoken truths. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with Yan into a night where the weight of the future presses against the fragility of her heart. Yan's hands tremble as she brushes her hair, the wooden comb catching on knots she doesn't bother to untangle. She's 19, her face soft but shadowed, her eyes carrying a weight no one her age should bear. The house is still. Her parents, Hua and Bo, sleep in the next room, their breathing uneven, as if their dreams are as troubled as her own. Yan knows why they agreed to this marriage, why they accepted Madame Li's offer. The debts that choked their family money owed to lenders, to neighbors, to the land itself left them no choice. Wei's family promised salvation, rice cloth, enough silver to keep the creditors at bay. In return, Yan would marry Wei's spirit, live as his widow, her life dedicated to a name carved on a tablet. She understands their desperation, feels it in the hollow ache of her own hunger, but understanding doesn't dull the fear. It grows, sharp and cold, like a blade pressed against her heart. She thinks of Wei, a boy she barely remembers. A fleeting image comes to her, a young man running through the village square, his laughter bright, his eyes alive with dreams. He was kind, she thinks, but that's all she knows. Now, he's a spirit, a presence she'll never see, yet one she'll be bound to forever. The thought sends a shiver through her, colder than the night air. She's heard the stories of ghost brides, whispered by women at the river, their voices low as they washed clothes. Some spoke of honor, of the pride in serving the dead, of the blessings it brought their families. Others told darker tales of women haunted by their ghost husbands, their dreams filled with voices, their lives marked by a loneliness no one could name. Yan wonders which path awaits her, if she feel Wei's spirit in the quiet moments, or if he'll remain a stranger, a shadow she carries alone. The lamp flickers, casting shadows that dance on the walls, and Yan's mind drifts to the ceremony. Madame Li described it in her smooth, measured voice. Yan will wear the red dress, stand before Wei's tablet, and bow 3 times. She'll accept a red envelope filled with coins that symbolize her bond to the spirit. There will be no feast, no music, only the low chants of a priest and the crackle of burning joss paper. Wei's family will be there, their faces solemn, their gratitude unspoken. Yan's parents will watch, their eyes heavy with guilt they'll never admit. And Yan shall move through it like a ghost herself, her body present, but her heart distant, searching for a way to make sense of it all. She imagines the moment, the weight of the dress, the scent of incense, the eyes of the village on her. She wonders if she feel Wei, if his spirit will know her, or if the ritual is just a hollow gesture, a bargain to ease the living more than the dead. Outside, the village is a tapestry of soft sounds of dogs' bark, the rustle of leaves, the faint ripple of the river. Yan rises, her bare feet cold against the floor, and steps to the window. The moonlight bathes her face, and for a moment, she feels small, as if the world could swallow her whole. She thinks of her life before this moment, of days spent in the fields, laughing with her friend Mei, dreaming of a future beyond King Shui. She wanted to see the city, to walk streets lined with lanterns, to marry a man who would know her heart. Those dreams feel distant now, like stars too far to touch. The ghost marriage will change her, she knows. She'll live with her family, but her role will shift. She'll tend Wei's tablet, offer prayers, live as a widow to a spirit. The village will see her differently. Some will honor her sacrifice, others will whisper, their eyes avoiding hers. She wonders if she lose herself, if Yan, the girl who laughed by the river, will fade into Yan, the ghost bride. Her thoughts turn to her parents, to the love that drove them to this choice. Who her mother has always been gentle, her hands quick to soothe, her voice a comfort in the dark. Bo, her father, is stern but kind, his silence a shield for the worry he carries. Yan knows they love her, knows they believe this is her duty, her way to save them. But the knowledge doesn't ease the ache. She wants to scream, to ask why it must be her, why tradition demands her life. But she's seen the exhaustion in her father's eyes, the hunger in her mother's frame, and she cannot bring herself to speak. Instead, she carries the fear alone, a weight that grows heavier with each passing hour. She thinks of other ghost brides of Chen, who lives alone in a hut by the river, her days spent tending an altar, her nights silent. Yan wonders if that will be her fate, if her fear will become her life. The lamp gutters, its flame nearly gone, and Yan returns to her mat. She lies down, her eyes tracing the cracks in the ceiling, her mind a whirl of questions. What does it mean to marry a spirit? Will Wei's presence linger, a shadow in her dreams? Will the village's respect be enough to fill the emptiness she feels? She closes her eyes, trying to imagine Wei, to give him a face, a voice. The darkness is kind, wrapping her in its quiet, but sleep is far away. Tomorrow she'll walk to the shrine, her steps heavy, her heart a battleground of duty and fear. She will become a ghost bride, a figure caught between worlds, her life a testament to the power of tradition. But for now, she lies still, the night her only companion, her fear a quiet song in the silence. This is the living bride's fear, a story of a girl caught in the grip of King Shui's traditions, her heart a fragile thing against the weight of the past. Yan's journey is just beginning, a path marked by sacrifice and the hope of something more. As we'll see, not every ritual brought peace, and not every heart could bear the cost. The village may sleep, but its shadows hold stories of those who could not. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the price of honor, where the cost of tradition was measured in more than silver. The sun is sinking over Qingshui, painting the sky in hues of amber and violet. As the village settles into the quiet rhythm of dusk, the air carries the scent of straw and cooling earth, mingled with the faint smoke of evening fires. In the heart of the village, Jan's home is a small beacon of light, its single lamp casting a warm glow through the open window. Inside, Jan sits in her red dress, the fabric heavy on her shoulders, her hands folded tightly in her lap. The ceremony is hours away now, and the weight of it presses against her like a stone. Her parents, who wore and bow, move silently around her, their faces tight with a mix of relief and guilt. Tonight we step into the cost of Yan's ghost marriage, not just in silver or grain, but in the deeper toll it takes on her family, on her future, on the fragile balance of honor in Qingshui. This is a story of sacrifices made to uphold tradition, of debts paid in more than coin, of a village bound by the price of its beliefs. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's explore the price of honor, where every choice leaves a mark that lingers long after the night fades. Yan's dress is vibrant, its red silk catching the lamplight, a symbol of celebration that feels like a lie. She traces the embroidered patterns with her fingers, her thoughts drifting to the life she's leaving behind. The dress was a gift from Wei's family, a gesture of gratitude for her sacrifice, but it feels like a chain, binding her to a future she didn't choose. Her parents sit nearby, Hua stirring a pot of tea, Bao polishing a pair of worn shoes for the ceremony. The room is quiet, the silence heavy with unspoken words. Yan knows the price they've paid for this moment. Debts cleared, a season's worth of rice secured, a promise of survival through the next winter. But she also knows the cost to her heart, the dreams she's buried, the life she lived as Wei's widow. In Qingshui, honor is a currency as real as silver, and tonight, Yan is its price. The ghost marriage was a bargain, one struck in desperation. Beau's debts had grown like weeds, rooted in a flood that ruined their fields. A loan taken to buy seeds, another to appease the moneylenders. Each coin borrowed was a step deeper into a hole they couldn't climb out of. When Madame Li arrived, her voice smooth and measured, she offered a way out. Wei's family, grieving but resolute, would pay a sum that would clear the debts, provide food, and secure the family's place in the village. In return, Yan would marry Wei's spirit, live as his widow, and tend his shrine. It was a trade that honored tradition, satisfied the spirits, and saved a family from ruin. Who had wept when they agreed, her hands clutching Yan's, her apologies a whisper. Beau had nodded, his face hard but his eyes betraying the ache in his heart. They believed it was for the greater good, for Yan's future as much as their own. But the price was steep and Yan carries it alone. In Qingshui, the cost of honor is not just personal, it's communal. Ghost marriages are a shared burden, a tradition that binds the village as tightly as the ropes that tie prayer ribbons to the ancient tree in the square. Every family knows the toll. Across the village, a farmer named Li sold his only ox to pay for a ghost marriage for his daughter. His fields now worked by hand, his back bent with exhaustion. A widow named Auntie Shen gave up her savings to secure a bride for her son. Her days now spent scavenging for herbs to sell. These sacrifices are woven into Qingshui's rhythm, a testament to the belief that the dead must be honored, that the spirit's peace is the village's peace. But the cost is not just in coin or labor, it's in the quiet erosion of hope, the weight of choices that linger like shadows. Yan's family is no exception. Their relief tempered by the knowledge of what they've asked of their daughter. Yan rises, her dress rustling as she steps to the door. The village is settling into night, its lanterns glowing like stars fallen to earth. She thinks of the ceremony, of the moment she bowed before Wei's tablet, her name joined to his in the ancestral records. She imagines the priest's chants, the scent of incense, the eyes of Wei's family Chen Mei and Lian watching her with gratitude and sorrow. She wonders if they know the price she's paying, if they understand the life she's giving up. She thinks of Wei, a boy she barely knew, his spirit now her responsibility. Will he thank her, she wonders, or will he haunt her, a presence in the quiet moments of her life? The thought sends a chill through her, but she pushes it away, focusing on the now and her parents, on the village, on the honor that demands this sacrifice. Hua brings Yan a cup of tea, her hands trembling as she sets it down. The steam rises, curling like the incense Yan will soon light, and Hua's eyes meet her daughter's for a fleeting moment. There's love there, but also guilt, a silent apology Yan cannot answer. Bao joins them, his shoes polished to a dull shine, his silence a wall between them. Yan wants to speak, to ask why it must be her, but the words catch in her throat. She sees the exhaustion in her father's frame, the hunger in her mother's eyes, and knows they had no other choice. The moneylenders would have taken their home, their fields, their dignity. This marriage, this ritual, is their salvation, and Yan is its price. She sips the tea, its warmth a small comfort, and tries to imagine a future where she's more than a ghost bride, where her heart finds a place to rest outside. The village hums with its quiet life, its people bound by the same traditions that shape Yan's fate. A neighbor passes her basket heavy with vegetables, her glance at Yan's house filled with pity and respect. The village knows what's coming, knows the weight of Yan's sacrifice. Some will honor her, calling her noble, a daughter who saved her family. Others will whisper, their eyes avoiding hers, their voices low with tales of ghost brides who never found peace. Yan feels their gaze, even now, and it adds to the weight she carries. She thinks of other ghost brides, of Chen, who lives by the river, her life a silent vigil to a spirit. She wonders if she'll become like her days defined by an altar, her nights haunted by dreams she cannot share. The lamp flickers, its light growing dim, and Yan sets the tea down. She lies on her mat, the red dress folded beside her, its presence a reminder of the morning to come. The village is quiet now, its rhythm slowing as the night deepens. Yan closes her eyes, her heart a tangle of fear and duty, her mind searching for a spark of hope. Tomorrow, she walked to the shrine, her steps heavy but resolute, and become Wei's bride. She'll carry the price of honor, a burden that will shape her life in ways she cannot yet see. In King Shui, honor is everything, but its cost is measured in hearts as much as silver. As we'll see, not every price was paid willingly, and not every ritual brought the peace it promised. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we follow a mother's silent grief, where love and loss collide in the heart of King Shui. The night wraps King Shui in a gentle embrace, the stars above like scattered pearls against the endless black. The village is still, its paths bathed in moonlight, the air carrying the faint scent of charcoal and the sweet whisper of jasmine. In the home of Wei's family, a single lantern glows, its light soft but unwavering, casting shadows that dance across the walls. Wei's mother kneels before the ancestral shrine, her hands folded, her eyes fixed on the wooden tablet, bearing her son's name. The room is quiet, save for the soft crackle of the lantern and the distant murmur of the river. Tonight, the ghost marriage is complete. Mei Ling's bones laid beside Wei's, the ritual sealed under the watchful eyes of the village. But for Mei, the ceremony has not brought only a deeper, quieter grief, a weight that settles in her heart like dust. Tonight we step into her world, into the silent sorrow of a mother who gave everything for her son, only to find that love cannot mend every wound. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with Mei into a night where grief and duty intertwine, a mother's heart caught in the shadow of tradition. Mei's hands are steady as she lights a fresh stick of incense, its smoke curling upward, a fragile bridge to the son she lost. Her face is lined, her eyes heavy with a sorrow that never fades. Wei was her light, her firstborn, a boy whose laughter filled their home like music. She remembers his small hand in hers, his questions about the stars, his dreams of fishing in rivers far beyond King Shui. When the fever came, swift and merciless, it stole him in days, leaving Mei with nothing but memories and a tablet carved with his name. The ghost marriage was her offering, a way to give him peace, to ensure his spirit wasn't alone. She poured her heart into it, every coin saved, every prayer whispered, every hope pinned on Mei Ling's bones. But now, in the quiet of this night, she feels no relief. The shrine is a reminder of her loss, the incense a fleeting comfort, the silence a mirror to her grief. The room smells of polished wood, and the faint sweetness of the persimmons she placed as offerings. The tablet of Mei Ling rests beside Wei's, their names linked in a union Mei prays is enough. She imagines her son, his smile bright in the afterlife, his hand holding Mei Ling's, a girl she's built in her mind, kind, gentle, a companion for eternity. But the thought of those bones, delivered in secret by Madame Li, stirs a quiet unease. Mei doesn't know where they came from, doesn't want to know. She trusts the matchmaker, trusts the ritual, but the questions linger, sharp as thorns. Did Mei Ling's spirit want this? Is Wei truly at rest? The doubts are a betrayal of her faith, but they creep in, unbidden, as she kneels in the dark. She presses her hands to the floor, her fingers cold, and whispers a prayer not for peace, but for forgiveness, for the choices she's made. Outside, King Shui breathes softly, its people tucked into their homes, their own altars lit with similar hopes. Mei's grief is not unique. Every family in the village carries its own. The widow down the path mourns a daughter, her ghost marriage a year past, her offerings a daily ritual. A farmer across the square tends a shrine for his son, his fields worked alone now, his heart heavy with loss. In King Shui, grief is a shared language, spoken in the flicker of lanterns, the scent of incense, the quiet moments before dawn. But for Mei, it's personal, a wound that bleeds anew each time she sees Wei's tablet. The ghost marriage was meant to heal it, to give her son what he needed in the afterlife. She believed in the tradition, in the ancestors who watch, in the balance of the cosmos. But belief is not enough to silence the ache, the fear that she's failed him. Mei rises, her knees stiff from kneeling, and steps to the door. The night air is cool, brushing her face like a gentle hand. She thinks of Chen, her husband, asleep now, his dreams troubled by the debts they've paid, the fields they've risked. She thinks of Lian, their daughter, whose eyes carry a new weight since Wei's death since the rituals that changed their family. Mei wonders what Lian thinks of the ghost marriage, if she sees it as love or burden. She remembers her daughter's hands, trembling as she lit the joss paper, her face pale in the firelight. Mei wants to talk to her, to ask if she understands, but the words feel too heavy, too raw. Instead, she stands in the doorway, her eyes on the stars, searching for a sign that Wei is at peace, that her sacrifice was enough. The village has seen many ghost marriages, each a story of love and loss. Mei remembers one, years ago, a boy named Dao whose family spared no expense to find him a bride. The ceremony was grand, the offerings lavish, but the family crumbled under the cost, their home sold, their lives uprooted. Mei wonders if that's her fate, if the silver paid to Madame Li, the debts cleared for Yan's family, will haunt them in other ways. She thinks of Yan, the living bride who was almost Wei's, and feels a pang of guilt. Yan's sacrifice was spared, replaced by Mei Ling's bones, but Mei wonders if it matters. The price of honor is always high, whether paid in flesh or bone, in silver or sorrow. She hopes Yan finds peace, but she knows the villagers' eyes will follow her. Their whispers are shadows she carried. Mei returns to the shrine, her steps slow, her heart a tangle of love and grief. She thinks of the ritual, of the night in the clearing, the chants of Master Zhou, the flames that consumed the joss paper. She sees Wei in her mind, his face young and bright, and imagines him walking with Mei Ling, their spirits entwined. The image is a comfort, a fragile thread she clings to. But the silence of the shrine, the stillness of the tablets, reminds her of what's gone. She wonders if Wei knows how much she loves him, if he feels the weight of her grief. She wonders, too, about Mei Ling, a girl she'll never know, whose bones were a bargain she doesn't understand. The thought of Deng, the body trader, flickers in her mind, but she pushes it away, focusing on the incense, on the prayer she whispers again. The lantern dims its flame, a faint glow against the night. Mei lies down, her mat cold beneath her, her eyes tracing the shadows on the ceiling. Sleep is far away, her mind caught in the loop of her grief. Wei's smile, his fever, the ritual, the bones. She wonders if she's done enough, if the ancestors approve, if the spirits are at rest. In King Shui, a mother's grief is a silent thing, carried in the heart, hidden behind the duties of the day. Mei's love for Wei is eternal, but so is her sorrow, a burden she carries until her own name joins the shrine. The village may move on, its rituals a steady rhythm, but for Mei, the price of honor is a wound that never heals. As we'll see, not every spirit was calmed by these ceremonies, and not every heart found peace in their wake. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the restless call of the spirits, where the dead demanded more than the living could give. The night is deep in King Shui, the village cloaked in a darkness that feels alive, as if the shadows themselves are whispering. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of river water and the lingering smoke of incense burned hours ago. The stars above are faint, half hidden by clouds that drift like spirits across the sky. In the home of Wei's family, the ancestral shrine glows faintly, the tablets of Wei and Mei Ling bathed in the soft light of a single candle. Mei sleeps fitfully, her dreams haunted by images of her son, his face pale but restless, as if calling to her from beyond. Across the village others feel it, too, a stirring, a sense that the dead are not at peace, that their needs echo through the night. Tonight, we step into the beliefs that fueled King Shui's ghost marriages, into the fear of restless spirits and the desperate rituals to quiet their call. This is a story of faith, of dread, of a village bound by the unseen, where the dead held power over the living. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's explore the spirit's restless call. Where the boundary between worlds was as fragile as a whisper, Mei wakes with a start, her breath catching, her heart pounding in the stillness. The candle by the shrine has burned low, its flame a fragile flicker against the dark. She dreamt of Wei, his eyes searching, his voice a murmur she couldn't understand. In her dream he stood by the river, his figure blurred, a girl beside him, Mei Ling perhaps, her face hidden in shadow. The dream was not a comfort. It was a warning, a sign that something is amiss. Mei rises, her hands trembling as she lights fresh incense, its sharp scent grounding her. She kneels before the shrine, her prayers urgent, asking the ancestors to guide her son, to calm his spirit. In King Shui, such dreams are not dismissed. They are messages, calls from the dead, reminders that the living must act to restore balance. Mei believes in the ghost marriage, in the bones laid beside Wei's, but her dream stirs a fear she cannot name, that his spirit is restless, that their sacrifice was not enough. This fear is woven into the fabric of King Shui, a village where the dead are as present as the living. In ancient China, the afterlife was not a distant realm but a mirror of this world, where spirits needed love, wealth and honor, just as the living did. A soul left unwed like Wei was a danger, a restless spirit who could wander, bringing misfortune to the family, the village, the land itself. The elders told stories of such spirits: a young man whose unquiet soul caused a drought, his anger drying the fields until his family found him a bride; a girl whose spirit haunted her home, her cries heard in the wind until a ghost marriage was arranged. These tales were not just folklore, they were the heartbeat of King Shui's faith, a belief that drove families to empty their savings, to seek matchmakers like Madame Li, to bind the living and the dead in rituals that carried the weight of eternity. May's neighbor, Auntie Lin, knows this fear well. She tends a small shrine by the river, her son's tablet, a constant reminder of her own ghost marriage years ago. She too dreams of him, his face young but troubled, his hands reaching out. She burns joss paper weekly, her offerings a plea for his peace. But the dreams persist, a sign that something is unfinished. Auntie Lin visits May at dawn, her basket heavy with vegetables, her voice low as she shares her fears. She speaks of the village's history, of times when restless spirits brought calamity, a flood that swept away homes, a fever that claimed children, a fire that devoured a barn. Each was blamed on a spirit left unpaired, their anger a force the village could not ignore. May listens, her hands clasped tightly, her mind racing with her own dream. She wonders if Wei's spirit is calling, if Mei Ling's bones were not enough, if the ritual faltered in some unseen way. The village hums with this belief, its people attuned to signs of the restless dead. A farmer named Li pauses in his fields, his eyes on a flock of birds that circle unnaturally, a possible omen. A woman named Zhu, washing clothes by the river, hears a strange ripple, as if the water itself is speaking. These are not mere superstitions, they are the lens through which King Shui sees the world. The ghost marriage for Wei was not just a family's act but a village's necessity, a way to protect the community from the wrath of the unseen. When Madame Li arranged the ritual, when Deng delivered the bones, when Master Zhou chanted over the grave, it was for King Shui as much as for Wei. The village watched, their approval silent but palpable, their own altars lit with similar hopes, but the fear remains, a quiet pulse beneath the surface. That one misstep could awaken a spirit's anger. May steps outside, the morning air cool against her face, the village stirring to life. She sees Lian, her daughter, sweeping the courtyard, her movements slow, her eyes distant. May wonders if Lian feels it too, the sense that Wei's spirit is not at rest. She remembers her daughter's face during the ritual, pale in the firelight, her hands trembling as she burned the joss paper. May wants to ask to share her dream, but the words feel too heavy, too dangerous. Instead, she joins Lian, taking the broom, their silence a shared language. The village moves around them, farmers heading to the fields, children laughing, a cart creaking along the path. But May feels apart, her heart tethered to the shrine, to the son she cannot let go. She thinks of the bones of Mei Ling and wonders if her spirit, too, is restless, a stranger in Wei's afterlife. The belief in restless spirits shaped King Shui's every act. Families planned ghost marriages with care, knowing a single mistake, wrong match, a flawed ritual could invite disaster. Madame Li knew this, her negotiations precise, her lies about Mei Ling's origins a shield against doubt. Chen, Wei's father, felt it too, his hand steady as he filled the grave, his heart heavy with the fear of failure. Even Yan, spared from the marriage, carries this belief, her dreams troubled by thoughts of Wei, of what might have been. In King Shui, the restless call of the spirits was a force as real as the river, as constant as the seasons. It drove families to sacrifice, to pay matchmakers, to disturb graves, all to ensure the dead found peace. But peace was fragile, a hope that wavered with every dream, every omen, every whisper in the night. May returns to the shrine, her hands lighting another stick of incense, its smoke a plea for Wei's rest. She kneels, her eyes on his tablet, her heart a tangle of love and fear. She wonders if she'll dream of him again, if his spirit will speak, if the ancestors will guide her. The village may believe in the power of the ritual, but May's grief is her own, a silent call that echoes. The spirits she seeks to calm. King Shui's faith is strong, but its fears are stronger, binding its people to a cycle of duty and dread. As we'll see, not every spirit was quieted, and not every ritual brought the peace it promised. The village's shadows hold stories, of those who paid the price, and those who could not escape. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the secrets of the matchmaker, where truth and lies wove a dangerous dance. The night cloaks King Shui in a velvet hush, the village bathed in the soft glow of moonlight filtering through scattered clouds. The air is heavy with the scent of damp leaves and the faint tang of charcoal from dying fires. At the edge of the village, Madame Li's home stands apart, its lanterns casting a warm, deceptive light against the darkness. Inside, she sits at her low table, her crimson robes folded neatly beside her, her hands sorting through scrolls inscribed with names, dates, and debts. The room is quiet, save for the soft scratch of her brush and the occasional creak of the wooden floor. Madame Li is the keeper of secrets, a matchmaker whose words weave destinies, whose bargains bind a living to the dead. Tonight we step into her shadows, into the hidden truths she guards, where the ghost marriages of King Shui are built on lies as much as faith. This is a story of a woman who balances duty and deception. Her heart a ledger of compromises made in the name of tradition. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's uncover the matchmaker's secret, where the line between honor and shame is as thin as a whisper. Madame Li's hands are steady as she writes, her brush tracing characters with a precision honed by years of practice. Her face, lit by the flicker of an oil lamp, is calm, but her eyes betray a flicker of unease. She thinks of Wei's ghost marriage, of the bones she presented as talons, of the story she crafted to ease the family's doubts. The bones came from Deng, the body trader, unearthed from a forgotten grave, far from King Shui. Madame Li told Chen in Mei a different tale of virtuous girl, taken by illness, her family eager for her soul's peace. It was a lie, one of many she's told, a necessary deception to keep the ritual pure, to maintain the village's faith. She knows the truth could unravel everything: the trust of Wei's family, the balance of King Shui, her own place in this fragile world. Her secret is a weight she carries alone, a shadow that lingers even in the light of her success. In King Shui, Madame Li is both revered and feared, a woman who holds the power to soothe restless spirits, to mend broken traditions. Her role in ghost marriages is sacred, her presence a reassurance to families like Wei's, who seek her out in their grief. But her work is not all incense and prayers. It's a business, a delicate dance of profit and piety. She negotiates fees, arranges rituals, and, when necessary, turns to men like Deng to supply what tradition demands. The bones of Mei Ling were not the first she's bought, nor will they be the last. She remembers another marriage, years ago, for a boy named Liang. His family, wealthy but desperate, paid her handsomely for a bride's remains. Deng delivered, as always, but the bones were old, their origins unclear. Madame Li spun a story, her voice smooth, and the family believed. The ritual went flawlessly, but Madame Li felt the weight of her lie, a cold knot in her chest that never quite faded. Tonight, as she sits alone, Madame Li thinks of Yan, the living bride who was spared. She recalls the girl's pale face, her eyes wide with fear, and feels a pang of something: guilt perhaps, or pity. Yan's marriage to Wei's spirit was a plan abandoned when Deng's delivery arrived. A shift that saved Yan but cost Madame Li another secret. She wonders if Yan knows, if the village whispers of the bones, of the grove where Deng works his grim trade. She pushes the thought away, focusing on her scrolls, on the names of other families, other spirits needing her services. Her work is endless, a cycle of grief and ritual that sustains King Shui's traditions. But each bargain, each lie, adds to the ledger of her heart, a record she cannot erase. She tells herself it's for the greater good, that her secrets protect the village, that the spirits are appeased. But in the quiet of the night, she wonders if the dead know the truth, if they judge her as she judges herself. The lamp flickers, casting shadows that seem to move with a life of their own. Madame Li rises, her steps soft, and approaches her small altar, where incense burns for her own ancestors. She lights a fresh stick, its smoke curling upward, a prayer for forgiveness, for strength. She thinks of her mother, who taught her this trade, who carried her own secrets. Madame Li was young when she learned the art of matchmaking, her hands clumsy but eager, her heart open to the power of tradition. Her mother spoke of balance, of the need to honor the dead, but she also spoke of survival, of the coins that kept their family fed. Madame Li learned to weave stories, to hide truths, to make the impossible possible. She's proud of her skill, of the peace she's brought to King Shui, but the cost is a shadow that grows with each passing year. She wonders if her mother felt it too, this quiet ache, this fear that the spirits see through her lies outside. King Shui is still, its lanterns dim, its paths empty. Madame Li steps to her door, the night air cool against her face. She sees the village as if for the first time: its mud brick homes, its fields stretching to the hills, its people bound by faith and fear. She thinks of Wei's family, of weary resolve, Mei's silent grief, Lian's questioning eyes. She thinks of Yan, whose life hangs in the balance of her decisions. Madame Li's secrets are the glue that holds King Shui together, the lies that keep its traditions alive. Without her, the village would falter, its spirits restless, its balance lost. But the weight of those secrets is hers alone, a burden she carries in silence, her heart a vault of truths untold. She returns to her table, her brush moving again, her mind on the next ghost marriage. There's a family in a neighboring village, a son lost to a fall, a mother desperate for his peace. Madame Li will visit them tomorrow, her voice calm, her promises sure. She'll find a bride, living or dead, and weave a story to make it right. She'll call on Deng if needed, his grim trade a necessity she cannot avoid. The cycle will continue, as it always has, a dance of duty and deception that defines her life. But tonight, as the lamp burns low, she feels the weight of it all: the bones, the lies, the hopes she's built on fragile ground. She wonders if the spirits forgive her, if they see the love behind her secrets, or if they, too, are restless, There calls a shadow she cannot escape. This is the matchmaker's secret. A story of a woman who holds King Shui's traditions in her hands, her heart, a battleground of duty and doubt. Madame Li is the thread that binds the village, but her secrets are a weight that threatens to unravel it all. As we'll see, not every marriage brought peace, and not every secret stayed buried. The village's shadows hold stories of love and loss, of spirits and sacrifices, waiting to be told. So, stay with us. Let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we follow a love lost to death, where a ghost marriage tried to mend what fate had broken. The night settles over King Shui like a soft, heavy blanket, the village hushed under a sky studded with stars. The air is cool, scented with the faint sweetness of wildflowers and the earthy temps of the river nearby. Lanterns glow faintly in doorways, their light trembling in the gentle breeze, as if guarding secrets the village keeps. In a small house near the center of King Shui, a young woman named Zhu sits by an open window, her fingers clutching a faded ribbon, its red silk worn, thin by time. Her eyes are distant, fixed on the darkness beyond, where memories linger like ghosts. Tonight, we step into a different story, one that weaves through the heart of King Shui's traditions, tale of a forbidden love cut short by death, and a ghost marriage meant to mend what fate tore apart. This is a story of Zhu and her lost love, Jun, a young man whose life ended too soon, leaving her to carry their dreams alone. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with Zhu into a night where love and loss collide. Bound by the rituals that define King Shui's soul, Zhu's home is modest, its walls of packed earth warmed by the glow of a single lamp. The ribbon in her hands was a gift from Jun, given on a spring day when the fields were bright with new green, when their laughter mingled with the song of the river. They were young, barely 20, their hearts entwined in a love the village we could not accept. Jun was a farmer's son, his family poor, their fields barely enough to feed them. Zhu's family, though not wealthy, had plans for her: a marriage to a merchant's son, a union to lift them from hardship. Their love was a secret, shared in stolen moments by the river, in whispers under the ancient tree in the square. But fate was unkind. Jun fell ill last autumn, a cough that grew into a fever, stealing his strength until he slipped away, his hand in Zhu's, his eyes promising a future they'd never have. Now, months later, Zhu sits alone, the ribbon her only tether to him, her heart heavy with a grief she cannot share. The village knew their story, though few spoke of it. Chun's death was a quiet tragedy, his family too poor to afford a grand ritual, his grave a simple mound beyond the fields. But in King Shui, a young man dying unwed was more than a loss, it was a danger, a spirit left restless, a threat to the village's balance. Chun's mother, a frail woman named Fen, came to Madame Li, her hands trembling as she offered what little they had: a few coins, a promise of future harvests. She begged for a ghost marriage, for a bride to give Jun peace, to quiet his spirit, before it brought misfortune. Madame Li listened, her face calm, her mind already weaving a plan. She thought of Zhu, whose love for Jun was no secret to her sharp eyes. A living bride, she decided, would be fitting: a union to honor their forbidden love, to mend what death had broken. She approached Zhu's family, her voice smooth, her offer tempting: a marriage to Chen's spirit, a way to honor their love, to secure the family's favor with the ancestors. Zhu's heart broke anew when her parents agreed. She wanted to scream, to refuse, but the weight of tradition, of her family's hopes, silenced her. She loved Jun, still loves him, but the thought of marrying his spirit terrifies her. She imagines standing before his tablet, bowing to a name that holds her heart, yet knowing he's gone, his warmth replaced by the cold wood of a shrine. The ribbon in her hands feels heavier now, a reminder of their stolen moments, of a love the village deemed unworthy. She wonders if Chun's spirit knows, if he wants this, if he'll find peace in a ritual that feels like a betrayal. The ceremony is set for tomorrow, and Zhu fears a quiet storm, her heart torn between love and the dread of a life bound to a ghost. She thinks of Yan, another living bride, spared by the arrival of Bones, and envies her, though she knows Yan's path is its own burden. The night deepens, the village silence save for the soft ripple of the river. Zhu steps outside, the ribbon clutched tightly, the moonlight bathing her face in silver. She walks to the river where she and Jun once sat, their hands entwined, their dreams as wide as the sky. The water glints, its surface a mirror to her. Memories: Chen's laughter, his gentle touch, his promise to run away together. She kneels by the bank, the grass cool beneath her, and lets a tear fall, its ripple joining the river's flow. In King Shui, love is not enough. Tradition is a stronger force, a current that pulls everyone in its path. Zhu's parents believe this marriage will honor Jun, will secure their family's place, will quiet the spirits. But for Zhu, it's a wound reopened, a love she cannot let go, a future she cannot see. The ceremony will be simple, Madame Li said. Zhu will wear a red dress, stand before Chen's tablet, and bow 3 times, her vows a whisper to the air. She accepts a red envelope, its coins a symbol of her bond to a spirit. Chun's mother will be there, her eyes wet with gratitude, her hands clutching a small offering of rice. Zhu's parents will watch, their relief tempered by the guilt they hide. The priest will chant, the joss paper will burn, and Zhu will become a ghost bride, her life reshaped by a love lost and a duty imposed. She wonders if Chun's spirit will feel her, if he'll know her heart, or if he'll remain a memory, a shadow she carries alone. The thought is both a comfort and a terror, a paradox she cannot unravel. Back in her home, Zhu lies down, the ribbon pressed to her chest, the lamp's flame guttering in the dark. She thinks of King Shui, of its altars, its rituals, its people, bound by faith and fear. She thinks of other ghost brides, of Yan, of Chen by the river, their lives marked by sacrifices they didn't choose. She wonders if she'll become like them, her days spent tending a shrine, her nights haunted by dreams of Jun. The village believes in the power of these rituals, in the need to honor the dead, but Zhu's heart questions it all. Was their love not enough? Did Jun need this, or is it for the living, or the village that fears his restless spirit? The answers are out of reach, lost in the night's embrace. This is the story of a forbidden love, lost, tale of Zhu and Jun, bound by a ghost marriage that sought to mend what death destroyed. In King Shui, love is a fragile thing, overshadowed by tradition, by the restless call of the spirits. Zhu's sacrifice is one of many, a thread in the village's tapestry of grief and duty. As we'll see, not every ritual brought the peace it promised, and not every heart could bear the weight of tradition. The village's shadows hold stories yet untold, waiting to be whispered. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we step into the cold touch of fate, where a living bride faced the reality of her union with the dead. The night in King Shui is a deep, silent sea, the village submerged in darkness, broken only by the faint glow of lanterns swaying in the breeze. The air is sharp, scented with the cool dampness of the river and the lingering trace of incense from rituals past. At the heart of the village, a small courtyard near the ancestral shrine is alive with quiet purpose, its stones lit by the flicker of paper lanterns. Zhu stands there, her red dress vibrant against the muted night, her hands trembling as she clutches a red envelope, its weight a symbol of the bond she's about to seal. Tonight is her ghost marriage to Jun, the boy she loved, now a spirit whose name is carved on a wooden tablet before her. The moment is heavy, the air thick with the chants of a priest and the hopes of two families. Tonight, we step into the chilling reality of Zhu's union, into the cold touch of fate that binds her to a spirit, her life reshaped by a ritual she cannot escape. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with Zhu into a night where love and duty collide, where the living meet the dead under the watchful eyes of King Shui. If you're enjoying this journey into the shadows of China's past, hit that subscribe button and join us for more haunting tales. Zhu's breath catches as she steps forward, her bare feet cold against the stone. The red dress, heavy with embroidery, clings to her like a second skin, its beauty a stark contrast to the fear in her heart. The courtyard is small, ringed by family chains. Mother, Fen, her face etched with grief, Zhu's parents, Hua and Bo, their eyes avoiding hers, and Madame Li, her crimson robes a silent authority. The priest, Master Zhou, stands before the shrine, his voice a low, rhythmic chant, calling to the spirits, to June, to the ancestors who watch. A small table holds offerings, rice persimmons, a cup of rice wine that glints in the lantern light. Beside it, Chen's tablet stands alone, its carved characters stark against the polished wood. Zhu's heart pounds a rhythm out of sync with the priest's words, her mind a whirl of memories. Chen's smile, his hand in hers, their stolen moments by the river. Now, he's gone, and she's here, about to become his widow, a bride to a shadow. The ritual begins with fire, as it always does. Madame Li lights a bundle of incense, its sharp scent cutting through the night, its smoke curling upward like a prayer. Zhu watches, her hands gripping the envelope, its coins heavy against her palm. The incense is a bridge, a connection to spirit, but to Zhu it feels like a wall, separating her from the life she knew. Master Zhou's chants grow louder, his hands tracing patterns in the air, invoking the gods, the ancestors, the balance of the cosmos. He speaks of Jun, of his youth, his kindness, his need for a companion in the afterlife. He speaks of Zhu, her sacrifice, a gift to the spirits, her duty a shield for the village. The words are meant to comfort, to honor, but to Zhu, they are a cage, each syllable locking her tighter into a role she never chose. She wants to run, to scream, but the eyes of the village hold her, their expectations heavier than the dress she wears. Fen, Chen's mother, steps forward, her hands trembling, as she places a small bowl of rice before the tablet. Her eyes are wet, her face a map of loss, but there's gratitude there too, for Zhu, for the ritual that will give her son peace. Zhu meets her gaze, and for a moment, their grief connects a shared thread of love for Jun, but the moment passes, and Fen steps back, her hands clasped, her prayers a whisper. Zhu's parents stand silent, Hu's face pale, Bo's hands clenched. They know the cost of this night, the debts cleared by Chun's family, the survival they've bought with their daughter's future. Zhu feels their guilt, a weight as heavy as her own fear, but it offers no comfort. She's alone in this moment, her heart a battlefield where love for Jun fights the terror of what's to come. She wonders if he's here, if his spirit watches, if he knows the price she's paying for him. Master Zhou gestures, and Zhu steps closer to the shrine, her movements slow, as if walking through water. She kneels, the stone cold beneath her, and bows 3 times, her forehead brushing the ground, her vows unspoken but binding. The act is simple, but it feels like a surrender, a moment where fate claims her. The red envelope is her bond, its coins a symbol of her marriage to Qin. Spirit. She rises, her hand shaking, and accepts the envelope from Madame Li, whose eyes are sharp but kind, a mask of reassurance. The priest scatters salt around the shrine, a barrier against restless spirits, its crunch a sharp note in the night. He chants louder, his voice a plea for Chen's peace, for Zhu's strength, for King Shui's safety. The lanterns sway, their light flickering, and for a moment Zhu feels a chill, as if the air itself has shifted, as if Jun is near, his presence a cold touch she cannot name. The joss paper is next, it's burning a ritual within a ritual. Zhu lights the sheets, one by one, watching them curl and blacken, their flames leaping into the night. The smoke rises, carrying wealth to Jun in the afterlife, a gift from the living to the dead. Zhu's hands tremble, but she moves with care, her love for Jun guiding her even now. She imagines him, his smile, his voice, wondering if he sees this, if he feels her heart. The flames dance, casting shadows that seem to move, and for a fleeting moment, Zhu thinks she sees him, a figure. In the smoke, his eyes soft but distant. The vision fades, leaving her with the heat of the fire, the weight of the envelope, the reality of her new life. She is Chun's widow now, a ghost bride at 20, her future tied to a tablet, her love a memory she'll carry alone. The ritual ends, the chants fading, the smoke dissipating into the stars. The family disperses, fends, thanks, a whisper, hua, and bows, silence a heavy presence. Madame Li nods, her work done, her secrets safe for another night. Zhu stands alone, the red dress a beacon in the dark, her heart a tangle of love and loss. She walks home, the envelope in her hands, the village quiet around her. She wonders what it means to be a ghost bride, if Chun's spirit is at peace, if her sacrifice was enough. The night offers no answers, only the cool touch of fate, a reminder that in King Shui tradition is a force stronger than love. Zhu's life is changed, her role now to tend Chun's shrine, to live as his widow, to carry a love that death could not erase but fate has reshaped. This is the cold touch of fate, a story of Zhu's union with Chen's spirit, a moment where love and duty met in a ritual that bound her to the dead. In King Shui, such moments were common, but each carried its own weight, its own shadows. As we'll see, not every village embraced these rituals without question, and not every heart could bear their cost. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the community's whispered judgment, where the villagers' eyes turned on those who bore the weight of tradition. The dawn creeps over King Shui, painting the village in soft hues of gold and gray, the air crisp with the scent of dew and the faint smokiness of morning fires. The paths hum with early activity, farmers heading to the fields, their hoes slung over shoulders, children darting between houses, their laughter a fleeting lightness. But beneath this rhythm lies a quieter pulse, a current of whispers that weaves through the village like the river through its valley. Zhu walks slowly toward the market, her red dress from the ghost marriage now replaced by plain cotton, her eyes downcast, avoiding the glances of neighbors. Her union with Chen's spirit is fresh. The memory of the ceremony still vivid, the chants, the incense, the weight of the red envelope in her hands. Tonight, we step into the heart of King Shui's community, into the whispered judgments that follow ghost brides like Zhu, where respect and fear mingle, where tradition casts a shadow over every glance. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's explore the village's watchful eyes, where the living judge the living for the sake of the dead. Zhu's steps are measured, her basket heavy with vegetables she'll sell at the market, her heart heavier still. The village knows her now as Chen's widow, a ghost bride at 20. Her life reshaped by a ritual that saved her family but mocked her soul. She feels the eyes on her, some kind, some curious, some sharp with judgment. The market square is alive, with voices, vendors calling out, neighbors bartering, the clatter of carts, but the whispers follow her like a shadow. An older woman, Auntie Shen, pauses her haggling to glance at Zhu, her nod a mix of pity and respect. A young mother, clutching a child's hand, lowers her voice as Zhu passes, murmuring about the ceremony, about Chun's spirit, about the girl who loved him too much. In King Shui, judgment is not loud. It's a quiet current, a murmur that binds. the village as tightly as its traditions. The community's view of ghost brides is a delicate balance, rooted in the beliefs that shaped King Shui. Too many Izu's sacrifice is noble, a testament to her love for Jun, her duty to her family, her role in protecting the village from a restless spirit. Elders like old Jiang, the storyteller, speak of her with reverence, their tales framing her as a guardian of harmony, a daughter who honored the dead. At the ancient tree in the square, where prayer ribbons flutter, women tie red threads for Zhu, asking the ancestors to bless her sacrifice. But not all see her this way. Younger voices like those of Chun's friend, Kai, question the cost. Kai leans against a stool, his eyes on Zhu, his mind on the friend he lost. He wonders why she had to marry Chun's spirit, why tradition demands such a price. His whispers are cautious, shared only with trusted friends, but they ripple, stirring unease among those who hear. Xiu feels the weight of these judgments, each glance a reminder of her new role. She stops at a store, trading carrots for a handful of rice, her voice soft but steady. The vendor, a woman named Meifang, smiles warmly, her words kind, but Zhu sees the flicker in her eyes, the unspoken question, is she at peace or haunted? Meifang's own daughter died years ago, her ghost's marriage a memory that lingers in her prayers. She honors Zhu, but her smile carries pity, a recognition of the loneliness that awaits. Zhu moves on, her basket lighter but her heart unchanged. She thinks of Chen, another ghost bride, who lives by the river, her days spent tending an altar, her nights silent. The village respects Chen, but few visit her, their fear of her strange union a barrier. Zhu wonders if that's her future, if King Shui's respect will fade into avoidance, its whispers into silence. The village's judgment is not just about Zhu, it's about the tradition itself, a tension that hums beneath King Shui's surface. Ghost marriages are sacred, a necessity to appease the spirits, but they stir unease, especially among the young. At the river, where women wash clothes, Zhu overhears their talk, stories of a ghost bride who went mad, claiming her spirit husband spoke to her, tales of a family cursed after a flawed ritual. These stories are warnings, reminders that the line between honor and horror is thin. Zhu's friend Lemay washes beside her, her hand scrubbing cloth, her voice low. She speaks of Yan, spared from a ghost marriage, and wonders if Zhu regrets her choice. Zhu says nothing, her eyes on the water, her heart a tangle of love and doubt. She loved Jun, still does, but the ritual feels like a theft, stealing her future to quiet a spirit she cannot see. In the square, old Jiang sits under the ancient tree, his voice drawing a small crowd. He tells of a ghost marriage from his youth, a girl who became a widow to a spirit and lived with honor, her family blessed with good harvests. The story is meant to uplift, to reinforce tradition, but Zhu, passing by, hears the unspoken cost. Girl's loneliness, her life spent in service to a tablet. The crowd nods, their faces solemn, but Kai, lingering at the edge, clenches his fists. He thinks of Jun, of Zhu, of the village that demands such sacrifices. His judgment is silent, a rebellion he keeps hidden, but it's there, a crack in King Shui's unity. The village believes in ghost marriages, in the need to honor the dead, but not all hearts agree, and their whispers grow, soft but persistent, like the river's flow. Xiu returns home, her basket empty, her steps slow. Her mother Hua greets her with a tired smile, her hands busy with sewing. Bo, her father, is in the fields, his absence a relief, his silence a weight. Zhu sits by the window, the ribbon from Jun in her hands, its red faded but precious. She thinks of the ceremony, of the cold touch of the envelope, the chance that bound her to Chun's spirit. She wonders if he's at peace, if her sacrifice was enough, or if the village's judgment will follow her forever. King Shui's whispers are kind and cruel, a mix of respect and fear that shapes her new life. She's a ghost bride now, honored, but apart, her love for Jun a light in the darkness, but a light that casts long shadows. The village moves on, its rhythm unbroken, but the whispers remain, a judgment that binds and divides. Zhu's story is one of many, a thread in King Shui's tapestry of tradition and sacrifice. As we'll see, not every ritual was accepted without question, and not every heart could bear the village's gaze. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told, of those who paid the price and those who could not escape. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we delve into the body traders market, where the dead became currency in a world bound by tradition. The night is a heavy shroud over King Shui, the village lost in shadows that seem to breathe with secrets. Beyond its borders, where the hills meet the grove of twisted trees, the darkness is deeper, the air thick with the scent of pine and disturbed earth. The stars are hidden tonight, cloaked by clouds that hang low, as if guarding the deeds done beneath them. In this grove, far from the village's lanterns, Deng moves silently, his figure a ghost among the trees. His sack is empty now, but his hands still carry the weight of the bones he delivered for Wei's ghost marriage. This is the body trader's market, a hidden world where the dead are currency, where men like Deng barter in shadows to meet the demands of tradition. Tonight, we step into this grim trade. Into the market that fueled King Shui's ghost marriages, where bones were bought and sold, and honor came at a price few dared to name. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk through the darkness, where the line between duty and desecration blurs under the weight of necessity. Deng pauses by a gnarled tree, its branches clawing at the sky, his breath shallow in the stillness. His clothes are rough, stained with dirt, his face weathered by nights spent in places like this. He's a body trader, a man whose name is whispered only in desperation, whose work sustains the rituals of King Shui but stains his soul. Tonight, he's here to meet another trader, a man named Gao, whose cart waits at the grove's edge, its contents hidden under a coarse cloth. Gao is older, his eyes sharp but tired, his hands steady as he lifts the cloth to reveal a small wooden box, bones, carefully wrapped, ready for a family in a neighboring village. Deng nods, his own sack now filled with silver coins, the payment for his last delivery. This is the market, a silent exchange where no questions are asked, where the dead are traded like grain, their stories erased to serve the living. The grove, it is a place of secrets, its earth scarred by countless disturbances. Deng knows every path, every hidden grave, every spot where the soil is loose. He's worked this trade for years, learning from men who came before, men who taught him to move quietly, to dig swiftly, to leave no trace. The bones he seeks are often from forgotten graves, those of the poor, the abandoned, the unclaimed. Sometimes, families sell them willingly, their hunger outweighing their grief. Other times, Deng takes what he needs, his spade breaking the earth under moonlight, his heart heavy but resolute. He tells himself it's for the greater good, that the spirits need these marriages, that families like Wei's find peace through his work. But the weight of each bone, each grave, lingers, a shadow that follows him home. In King Shui, the body trader's market is an open secret, known but unspoken. Families like Wei's rely on men like Deng, though they rarely admit it. Madame Li is the bridge, her crimson robes are masked for the grim transactions she facilitates. She meets Deng in the dead of night, her silver coins exchanged for boxes of bones, her stories woven to hide their origins. For Wei's marriage, she named the bones Mei Ling, crafting a tale of a virtuous girl taken by illness, the truth a grave in a distant village, a name lost 2 times was hers to keep. Deng knows this, knows the lies that protect the villages, faith, but he says nothing. His role is to deliver, to disappear, to carry the secret in silence. He thinks of Mei Ling's bones, now buried beside Wei's, and wonders if her spirit knows, if she's angry, if she haunts the grove where he found her. The market is not just in King Shui, it stretches across villages, a network of traders like Deng and Gao, their paths crossing in groves, by rivers, in abandoned fields. Gao speaks softly now, his voice a murmur as he describes his latest find, a young woman's remains, unearthed from a flood-damaged cemetery. The bones are clean, he says, suitable for a ghost marriage, their price fair. Deng listens, his mind calculating another family, another ritual, another payment. He knows the demand is endless, driven by the fear of restless spirits, by the traditions that bind villages like King Shui. He's seen families bankrupt themselves for a bride's bones, seen matchmakers like Madame Li grow wealthy on their grief. He's seen, too, the cost of his trade graves defiled, spirits disturbed, secrets that weigh heavier than the silver he earns. Deng's thoughts drift to his own family. Long gone, their graves far from here. He wonders if their spirits rest, if they needed what he provides for others. The thought is a fleeting pain, one he buries as he seals the deal with Gao, the box of bones now his to deliver. He moves through the grove, his steps silent, his sack heavy once more. The night is his ally, hiding his work, but it's also his judge, its silence a mirror to his conscience. He thinks of Zhu, the living bride who was spared, and wonders if she knows the cost of her freedom, the bones that took her place, the lies that made it possible. He thinks of Wei's family, of Mei's prayers, Chen's resolve, Lian's quiet questions. His work gave them peace, but at what price? The grove fades behind him as he nears King Shui, the village's lanterns, a faint promise of light. He'll meet Madame Li soon, her payment waiting, her story ready to dress the bones in honor. The village will accept it, their faith unshaken, their rituals unbroken. But Deng carries the truth, a secret that binds him to the shadows. The body trader's market is a grim necessity, a hidden engine that drives King Shui's traditions. It's a world of bones and bargains, where the dead are currency, and the living pay in silver and silence. Deng's steps are steady, but his heart is not, each delivery a reminder of the line he's crossed, the graves he's disturbed, the spirits he may have angered. The night deepens, the clouds parting to reveal a sliver of moonlight, cold and unyielding. King Shui sleeps, its people unaware of the grove, of the market that sustains their faith. Deng moves on, his sack a burden he cannot set down, his life a cycle of secrets and shadows. The village's rituals continue, its spirits appeased, but The cost is written in the earth, in the bones, in the hearts of those who carry the truth. As we'll see, not every family found peace in these transactions, and not every secret stayed buried. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we follow a father's desperate choice, where love and duty pushed one man to the edge. The night drapes Qingshui in a quiet so profound it feels like the world is holding its breath. The village lies still, its lanterns dim, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and the faint sweetness of wildflowers carried on a gentle breeze. In a modest home near the river, Chen Wei's father sits alone in the courtyard, his hands resting on his knees, his eyes fixed on the distant hills cloaked in shadow. The stars above are faint, their light struggling through a veil of clouds, mirroring the turmoil in Chen's heart. The ghost marriage for his son Wei is complete, Mei Ling's bones buried beside his, the ritual sealed with prayers and fire. But for Chen, the weight of that choice lingers, a burden heavier than the earth they move to lay the grave. Tonight, where he step into his world, into the desperate choice of a father driven by love and duty, pushed to the edge by the demands of tradition. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with Chen into a night where a father's heart battles the cost of honoring his son. Chen's hands are rough, calloused from years in the fields, but they tremble now, betraying the strain he hides. The courtyard is small, its stones worn smooth by countless steps, the air cool against his weathered face. He thinks of Wei, his son, whose laughter once echoed here, whose dreams of fishing in far-off places filled their home with light. Wei was 19 when the fever took him, his body frail, his eyes bright until the end. Chen sat by his side, helpless, watching life slip away, his heart breaking with every shallow breath. The ghost marriage was his vow to make things right, to give Wei peace in the afterlife, to protect the family from the wrath of a restless spirit. But the cost was steep, savings drained, debts incurred, secrets accepted. Chen thinks of the bones, of Mei Ling, a girl he knows only through Madame Li's words, and wonders what he's done, what he's traded for his son's soul. The decision was not made lightly. Months ago, when Wei's fever broke and his breath stopped, Chen felt the weight of tradition settle like a stone. In Qingshui, an unwed son was a danger, his spirit a threat to the family, the village, the balance of the cosmos. Chen knew the stories tales of drought, illness, fires blamed on spirits left alone. He saw it in the eyes of his neighbors, their pity mixed with expectation, their whispers urging him to act. Madame Li came, her crimson robes a stark contrast to their simple home, her voice calm as she spoke of a ghost marriage, of a bride to quiet Wei's spirit. Chen listened, his heart torn between grief and duty. He thought of Mei, his wife, whose tears never stopped, of Lian, his daughter, whose questions grew sharper with each passing day. He agreed, believing it was his role as a father, his love for Wei a fire that burned through doubt. But the cost was more than silver. Madame Li's fee was high, a sum that emptied their savings, left their fields at risk, their future uncertain. Chen remembers the night he handed her the coins, his hand steady but his heart racing, knowing it was money meant for seeds, for tools, for survival. She offered to choices a living bride, Yan, whose family's debts would be cleared, or a deceased bride, bones to be found by means she didn't explain. Chen chose the bones, unable to bear the thought of binding a living girl to Wei's spirit, though he knew Yan's fate was its own sacrifice. When Madame Li brought the box, named Mei Ling, Chen accepted it, his questions silenced by the need to move forward. He didn't ask about the grove, about Deng, about the shadows that brought those bones to Qingshui. He wanted to believe in the ritual, in the peace it promised, but the truth gnaws at him. A secret he carries in silence. Chen rises, his steps slow as he walks to the shrine inside. The room smells of incense and polished wood, the tablets of Wei and Ma Ling glowing faintly in the candlelight. He kneels, his hands folded, his prayers a whisper for his son's peace, for forgiveness for the choices he's made. He thinks of Mei, asleep now, her dreams haunted by Wei's face. He thinks of Lian, whose eyes carry a new weight, a quiet rebellion against the traditions that bind them. Chen wonders if they blame him, if they see his choice as love or weakness. He wanted to protect them, to honor Wei, to keep Qingshui safe from the spirit's wrath. But the cost presses against him, a weight heavier than the earth they buried, a doubt that grows in the quiet of the night. Did he do enough? Is Wei at rest, or does his spirit wander, angry at the price paid? The village around him is quiet, its people bound by the same traditions that drove Chen's choice. He thinks of other fathers, other families who paid for ghost marriages, their fields sold, their savings gone. A neighbor, old Li, gave up his ox to honor his daughter, his days now spent pulling a plow by hand. Another, a widower named Shen, traded his home for a ritual. His life now lived in a borrowed shed. In Qingshui, the price of honor is shared, a burden carried by all. But for Chen, it's personal, a wound that bleeds with every thought of Wei. He wonders about Mei Ling, about the bones they buried, about the story Madame Li told. Was she truly a virtuous girl, or was she a lie, a bargain struck in shadows? The question is a thorn, sharp and unrelenting, but Chen cannot ask it, cannot risk the truth undoing the ritual he pinned his hopes on. Outside, the night is still, the river a soft murmur, the stars hidden but watching. Chen steps back to the courtyard, his eyes on the hills, his heart a tangle of love and guilt. He thinks of the grove, of the men who worked there, of the secrets that sustain King Shui's traditions. He thinks of Yan, spared from the marriage, and wonders if she's free, or if her own burdens mirror his. The village believes in the ghost marriage, in the need to honor the dead. But Chen's choice was his own, a father's desperate act. To save his son's soul, the cost is his to bear, a weight that shapes his days, his dreams, his silence. He wonders if Wei knows, if he feels the love behind the sacrifice, or if the spirits judge him as he judges himself. This is a father's desperate choice, a story of Chen's love for Wei, a decision that cost more than he could ever repay. In King Shui, such choices were common, but each carried its own pain, its own shadows. As we'll see, not every ritual brought the peace it promised, and not every heart could bear the weight of tradition. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told, of those who burned offerings and those who burned with regret. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the Paper Bride's dance, where flames and prayers wove a delicate balance between worlds. The night in King Shui is a tapestry of shadows, the village wrapped in a stillness broken only by the soft rustle of leaves and the distant murmur of the river. The air is cool, scented with the faint sweetness of jasmine and the acrid temps of smoke lingering from earlier rituals. At the edge of the village, in a clearing near the ancestral graves, a small fire burns, its flames casting a warm glow against the darkness. The light dances on the faces of Wei's family, Chen Mei and Lian, as they gather for a final offering, a ritual to honor Wei and his ghost bride Mei Ling. In their hands are sheets of joss paper, folded into intricate shapes, gold ingots, silver coins, a paper bride dressed in red, her form delicate but fleeting. Tonight, we step into the heart of this ritual, into the Paper Bride's dance, where flames consume offerings to send wealth and companionship to the dead, a fleeting act of devotion that binds the living to the spirits. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk through the firelight, where King Shui's traditions flicker in the delicate balance between love and loss. The clearing is quiet, the night pressing close, its darkness a canvas for the fire's glow. Chen stands at the edge, his hand steady as he holds a bundle of joss paper, his eyes fixed on the flames. The fire crackles, its heat a stark contrast to the chill in his bones, a reminder of the son he's lost. Mei kneels nearby, her fingers arranging the paper offerings, a stack of gold, a pile of silver, and the paper bride, crafted with care to resemble metal. Lian, their daughter, stands beside her, her hands trembling as she clutches a single sheet, its edges worn from her nervous grip. The priest, Master Zhou, murmurs softly, his chants a low hum that weaves through the night, calling to Wei, to Mei Ling, to the ancestors who watch. This is the Paper Bride's dance, a ritual to ensure the spirits have all they need in the afterlife. A moment where the living burned their hopes into the night. Mei lights the first sheet, her hand steady despite the weight in her heart. Paper catches quickly, its edges curling, the flames leaping as if eager to carry her offering to the heavens. The smoke rises, thick and gray, curling upward in spirals that seem to dance, a fleeting bride moving through the air. Mei watches, her eyes glistening, imagining Wei receiving the wealth, the companionship, the love she sent. The paper bride is delicate, its red dress painted with careful strokes, its form a symbol of Mei Ling, the bride whose bones rest beside Wei's. Mei believes in the ritual, in the power of the flames to bridge worlds. But her heart aches, wondering if her son feels this, if he knows the love behind each burning sheet. The fire's warmth is a comfort, but it cannot touch the cold grief that lingers in her chest. Lian steps forward, her turn to offer. She holds the paper, a simple sheet folded into a gold ingot, its surface marked with her brother's name. She hesitates, her eyes on the fire, her mind a whirl of memories. Wei's laughter, his teasing, his promise to take her to the city. The flames beckon, and she lights the paper, watching it blacken and curl, its smoke joining the spiral above. The act is simple, but it feels heavy, a farewell she's not ready to give. Lian is 16, her heart caught between love for her brother and questions about the traditions that bind them. She's seen the paper brides dance before, at other rituals, but tonight it's personal. A moment that ties her to Wei, to Mei Ling, to a world she doesn't fully understand. The flames leap, casting shadows that seem to move, and for a moment Lian thinks she sees Wei's face, his smile flickering in the firelight, gone as quickly as it came. Chen adds his offering, a stack of paper coins, each one folded with care, his hands rough but precise. The fire consumes them, the flames growing brighter, the smoke thicker, carrying his hopes to the afterlife. He thinks of Wei, of the boy who ran through the fields, his dreams as wide as the sky. Chun's choice to arrange the ghost marriage, to pay Madame Li, to accept the bones of Mei Ling, was for Wei, for the family, for King Shui. But the cost haunts him: the silver gone, the fields at risk, the secrets he cannot ask about. The paper bride burns now, her form dissolving into ash, her dance a fleeting promise of peace. Chen watches his heart a battlefield of duty and doubt, wondering if Wei is at rest, if Mei Ling's spirit dances with him, or if the flames are all they have left. In King Shui, the paper bride's dance is more than a ritual. It's a heartbeat, a tradition that binds the village to its dead. Every family knows it, their altars littered with the ashes of offerings burned for sons, daughters, ancestors. The joss paper is crafted with care, its shapes a language of love: gold for wealth, silver for prosperity, a bride for companionship. The village believes in the power of these flames, in their ability to reach the afterlife, to satisfy the spirits who watch. But the dance is fragile, its beauty fleeting, its promise uncertain. Stories linger of rituals gone wrong, of paper offerings that failed to calm a spirit, of families who burned their wealth only to face misfortune. The elders tell of a village nearby, its fields barren after a flawed ritual, its people haunted by a spirit who rejected the paper bride. These tales are warnings, reminders that the dance must be perfect. The offerings sincere. Mei kneels again, adding more paper to the fire, her hands moving with a quiet reverence. The smoke swirls, its scent sharp, its presence a bridge to the unseen. She thinks of Wei, imagines him smiling, his hand holding Mei Ling's, their spirits at peace. But the thought of the bones, of Deng's shadowy trade, lingers, a doubt she cannot voice. She pushes it away, focusing on the flames, on the dance that carries her love to her son. Lian watches, her eyes wide, her heart torn between awe and unease. She wonders if the paper bride reaches Wei, if she dances for him, or if she's just ash, lost to the night. Chen stands silent, his staff planted in the earth, his prayers unspoken but heavy. The fire burns low now, its glow fading, the smoke thinning as it rises to the stars. The ritual ends, the clearing quiet, the family weary but bound by their act. They gather the ashes, scattering them gently, a final offering to the spirits. The lanterns sway, their light dimming, and King Shui returns to its hush, its secrets safe for another night. The paper bride's dance is over, but its echo remains, a reminder of the love, the fear, the hope that drives King Shui's traditions. For Chen, Mei and Lian, it's a moment of connection to Wei, but also a weight, a question of whether their sacrifice was enough. The village believes in the power of the flames, but not every heart is certain, not every spirit is calmed. As we'll see, the dance was just one thread in King Shui's tapestry. A tapestry woven with love and loss, with secrets that burn brighter than any fire. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the ties between the living and the dead, where King Shui's faith shaped every heart. The night in King Shui is a quiet vale, the village cradled in darkness, its paths bathed in the soft glow of moonlight filtering through thin clouds. The air carries the scent of damp grass and the faint lingering smoke of incense, a reminder of rituals performed under the stars. In the heart of the village, the ancestral shrine stands silent, its wooden tablets gleaming faintly, each name a thread tying the living to the dead. Mei walks slowly toward the shrine, her hands clutching a small bundle of joss paper, her heart heavy with thoughts of Wei. The ghost marriage is done, his spirit bound to Mei Ling's. But the connection between worlds feels fragile, a balance that King Shui holds with reverence and fear. Tonight, we step into the deeper beliefs that shaped the village, into the philosophy and faith that wove the living and the dead into a single tapestry. This is a story of a world where the dead were as present as the living, where every act, every prayer was a bridge across the divide. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's explore the ties that bound King Shui, where love, duty, and the unseen wove a delicate dance. Mei's steps are soft, her breath visible in the cool night air. As she approaches the shrine, the village is still, its lanterns dim, its people tucked into their homes, their own altars lit with similar hopes. She kneels before Wei's tablet, her fingers tracing his name, the wood smooth under her touch. The scent of incense lingers, a sharp sweetness that grounds her, a reminder of the rituals that define her world. In King Shui, the dead are not gone, they are present, their spirits watching, their needs as real as those of the living. Mei believes this, as her mother did, as her grandmother did, a faith rooted in centuries of tradition, in a worldview where the afterlife mirrors this one. Wei needs her, she thinks, needs her prayers, her offerings, her love to find peace. The ghost marriage was her gift to him, a way to ensure his spirit wasn't alone, but the act feels incomplete, her heart still searching for a sign that he's at rest. This belief is the heartbeat of King Shui, a village shaped by Confucianism and Taoism, by philosophies that see the world as a delicate balance. Confucianism taught Mei that family is eternal, that her duty to Wei extends beyond death, that honoring him is honoring the ancestors who came before. Taoism whispered of harmony, of yin and yang, of a cosmos where the living and the dead are intertwined, their needs in balance. An unwed spirit, like Wei's, disrupts this harmony, a soul left incomplete, a danger to the family, the village, the land. Mei remembers her father's stories told by the fire spirits who brought drought or illness when neglected, of families who suffered until they arranged a ghost marriage. These were not just tales. They were lessons, etched into King Shui's soul, a reminder that the dead demand as much as the living. Mei lights a stick of incense, its smoke curling upward, a fragile thread to the afterlife. She thinks of Wei, imagines him walking with Mei Ling, their spirits hand in hand, their tablets side by side. But the thought of those bones, delivered by Madame Li, stirs a quiet doubt. Were they truly Mei Ling's or just a bargain struck? In shadows, Mei pushes the question away, focusing on the incense, on the prayer she whispers for her son's peace. The village shares her faith, its homes filled with altars, its nights alive with offerings. Across the path, Auntie Lin tends her son's shrine, her hands arranging rice and flowers, her prayers a mirror to Mei's. In the square, old Zhong tells stories of ancestors who blessed their families when honored, of spirits who cursed when forgotten. King Shui lives by these beliefs, its people bound by the need to maintain the balance between worlds, but the balance is fragile. The connection between the living and the dead a delicate thread. Mei thinks of Zhu, the ghost bride who married Chun's spirit, her love for him a light in her darkness, but her life now marked by the village's gaze. She thinks of Yan, spared from a ghost marriage, yet carrying her own burdens. Mei wonders if they feel it too, this sense that the dead are near, their presence await in every quiet moment. She remembers a night, years ago, when a neighbor dreamed of her daughter, a ghost bride who appeared by the river, her face pale but smiling. The dream was a comfort, a sign the ritual worked, but Mei has no such signs, only dreams of Wei's restless eyes. She wonders if the ghost marriage was enough, if Mei Ling's spirit accepted it, if the ancestors approved. The doubt is a shadow, one she cannot share, even with Chen or Lian outside. The village is a hush, the river a soft song in the night. Mei steps into the courtyard, the moonlight bathing her face, her hands still clutching the joss paper. She thinks of Chen, working late in the fields, his heart heavy with the debts they've paid. She thinks of Lian, asleep now, her youth a fragile shield against the traditions that bind them. Mei wonders what her daughter believes, if she sees the dead as near, as real, as her mother does. The village's faith is strong, but it's not without cracks. Younger voices like Kai's question the cost of ghost marriages, the need to honor spirits at the expense of the living. Mei hears their whispers, sees their glances, but she holds fast to her belief, to the idea that Wei needs her, that the dead need the living to find peace. The paper in Mei's hands is ready to burn. Its folds a promise of wealth for Wei and Mei Ling. She lights it, the flames small but bright, their smoke rising to the stars. The act is simple, but it feels profound, a connection to her son, to the afterlife she cannot see. She imagines Wei smiling, his spirit at ease, but the image wavers, her doubt a quiet hum beneath her faith. In King Shui the living and the dead are bound by love, by duty, by fear, their lives a delicate dance across the divide. Mei's prayers, her offerings, her ghost marriage for Wei, are her way of maintaining that balance, of keeping the spirits at peace. But the cost is ever present, a weight in her heart, a question she cannot answer. Is Wei at rest, or does he wander, his spirit calling across the veil? The flames die, the smoke fades, and Mei stands alone, the night wrapping her in its quiet. King Shui's faith is its strength, but also its burden, a belief that ties every heart to the dead. Mei's story is one of many, a thread in a tapestry, woven with love and sacrifice. As we'll see, not every thread was strong, and not every ritual held the balance it promised. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told, of those who served the dead and those who broke under their weight. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we follow a sister's sacrifice, where love and duty pushed another heart to the edge. The night in King Shui is a gentle shroud, the village cloaked in darkness, its silence broken only by the soft rustle of leaves and the distant ripple of the river. The air carries the scent of damp earth and the faint sweetness of jasmine, whisper of life in the stillness. In the home of Wei's family, a single lantern glows, its light casting soft shadows across the walls. Where the ancestral shrine stands, bearing the tablets of Wei and Mei Ling, Lian, Wei's younger sister, it sits by the window, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes tracing the stars that peek through the clouds. At 16, she's caught between childhood and the weight of the world. She's beginning to understand, her heart heavy with the loss of her brother and the rituals that have reshaped her family. Tonight we step into Lian's story, into a sister's sacrifice, where love for Wei pushes her to a choice that binds her to King Shui's traditions. Her youth a fragile offering to the dead. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with Lian into a night where duty and devotion collide. Where a sister's heart carries the weight of her family's honor. Lian's breath is soft, her fingers tracing the edge of the window frame, the wood worn smooth by years of touch. The village is quiet, its lanterns dim, its people tucked into their homes, but Lian feels restless. Her mind a whirl of memories. Wei's laughter, his teasing, his promise to show her the city beyond. The hills, he was her protector, her guide, the brother who made her world brighter. When the fever took him, Lian was there, her small hands clutching his, her heart breaking as his breath faded. The ghost marriage, with its bones and rituals, was meant to give him peace, but it's left Lian with a new burden. She overheard her parents, Chen and Mei, whispering about their debts, about the cost of the ritual, about the need to protect their family's honor. Lian knows they're struggling, their fields at risk, their future uncertain, and so, she's made a choice, a sacrifice she hopes will ease their pain. A step into the shadows of tradition. The idea came to her in the quiet of the night, as she watched her mother kneel before the shrine, her prayers a soft plea for Wei's peace. Lian saw the exhaustion in Mei's eyes, the worry in Chen's frame, and felt a pull to act. She's young, but in King Shui youth is no shield from duty. She's heard of living brides like Zhu and Yan who married spirits to save their families. Lian knows she's too young for such a marriage. But there's another way. A vow to dedicate herself to the shrine, to tend Wei's tablet, to take on the rituals her parents can no longer afford. She'll burn the joss paper, light the incense, offer the prayers that keep Wei and Mei Ling at rest. It's a sacrifice of her time, her dreams, her chance to leave King Shui. But Lian believes it's her role, her way to honor her brother, to lighten her family's load. Lian rises her steps, soft as she moves to the shrine. The room smells of incense and polished wood, the tablets glowing faintly in the lantern light. She kneels, her hands trembling as she lights a stick of incense. Its smoke curling upward, a fragile thread to Wei. She whispers his name, her voice barely audible, promising to care for him, to keep his spirit at peace. The act is simple, but it feels profound, a vow that ties her to the dead, to the traditions that shaped King Shui. She thinks of Mei Ling, the bride whose bones rest with Wei's, and wonders if her spirit knows, if she's grateful, or if she's as lost as Lian feels. The incense burns, its scent sharp, grounding. But Lian's heart is a tangle of love and fear. Her sacrifice awaits she's only beginning to understand. Outside the village is a hush, its paths empty, its river a soft song in the night. Lian imagines her parents asleep now, their dreams troubled by debts and loss. She thinks of the ritual, of the paper bride's dance, of the flames that carried their hopes to Wei. She was there, her hands trembling as she lit the joss paper, her heart torn between love for her brother and questions about the cost. The village believes in these rituals, in the need to honor the dead. But Lian wonders if they're enough, if Wei's spirit is truly at rest, or if he wanders, calling to her in the quiet moments. She's heard the stories, old Zhong's tales, of spirits calmed by ghost marriages, of families blessed by their devotion. But she's heard darker tales too, of spirits who rejected their brides, of rituals that failed, leaving villagers to suffer. Lian sacrifices her own, a choice made in the shadow of her family's grief. She knows it will change her. Her is different, like Zhu, the ghost bride, or Chen, who lives by the river. Her life a silent vigil. The village will see her as dutiful, a daughter who honored her brother. But Lian feels the weight of what she's giving up, her dreams of the city, of a life beyond King Shui's hills, of a future where she's more than a keeper of the shrine. She thinks of Kai, Chun's friend, whose quiet rebellion against tradition stirs something in her. He questions the ghost marriages, the sacrifices, the cost, but Lian cannot afford such doubts. Her family needs her, Wei needs her, and King traditions demand her. She pushes the thoughts away, focusing on the incense, on the vow she's made, on the brother she loves. The lantern flickers, its light growing dim, and Lian lies down, her mat cold beneath her. She imagines Wei, his smile bright in her mind, his hand reaching out as it did when they were children. She wonders if he knows her sacrifice, if he feels her love, or if he's lost in the afterlife. His spirit tied to Mei Ling's. The night is kind, wrapping her in its quiet, but sleep is far away. Her heart a battlefield of duty and dreams. In King Shui, a sister's sacrifice is a sacred thing, a testament to family, to love, to the ties that bind the living to the dead. But it's also a weight, a choice that shapes her in ways she cannot yet see. Lian's vow is a thread in the village's tapestry, one woven with devotion and loss, with faith and fear. The village sleeps, its rhythm unbroken, but Lian's sacrifice lingers, a quiet promise to the dead. She's one of many in King, a village where every heart carries the weight of tradition, where the living serve the spirits. As we'll see, not every sacrifice brought peace, and not every vow could quiet the restless dead. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told, of those who gave everything and those who broke under the strain. So, Stay with us. Let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the priest's reluctant blessing, where faith and doubt collided in the heart of King Shui's rituals. The night in King Shui is a velvet curtain, the village wrapped in a darkness that hums with quiet secrets. The air is cool, scented with the faint tang of river water and the lingering smoke of incense burned at dusk. In a small hut near the ancestral shrine, Master Zhou, the village priest, sits cross-legged on a woven mat, his hands resting on his knees, his eyes fixed on a flickering candle. His robes, dark and worn, pool around him, their folds catching the light like shadows of the past. The hut smells of sandalwood and aged paper, its walls lined with scrolls of ancient prayers, their characters faded but sacred. Tonight, Master Zhou prepares for another ghost marriage, his chance ready to bind a spirit to its bride, but his heart is heavy, torn between faith and doubt. This is the story of a priest's reluctant blessing, a man caught between the traditions he upholds and the questions he cannot voice. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with Master Zhou into a night where duty and unease weave a delicate dance in King Shui's heart. Master Zhou's hands are steady as he unrolls a scroll, its text a guide for the ritual he'll perform tomorrow. His voice, when he chants, is a low hum, a cadence that has soothed King Shui for decades, calling to the ancestors, to the spirits, to the balance of the cosmos. He's overseen countless ghost marriages ways to Mei Ling, to Jun, each one a thread in the village's tapestry, a ritual to quiet restless souls. But tonight, as the candle flickers, his thoughts are not on the chants but on the weight they carry. He thinks of the bones buried in shared graves, of the living brides like Zhu, of the families who pour their hopes into his words. He believes in the traditions, in the power of his prayers. But a quiet doubt gnaws at him, a whisper that the spirits may not be as easily appeased as the village believes. The hut is quiet, save for the soft crackle of the candle and the distant song of crickets. Master Zhou remembers his training, years spent under an older priest, learning the chants, the gestures, the rituals that bridged the living and the dead. He was young then, his faith unshaken, his heart open to the mysteries of the afterlife. But time has worn him, like the stones of the shrine, smoothed by countless hands. He's seen the cost of ghost marriages, the silver spent, the fields sold, the lives reshaped. He thinks of Zhu, her face pale as she bowed to Chun's tablet, her love a light dimmed by duty. He thinks of Wei's family, of Mei's silent grief, Chun's weary resolve, Lian's questioning eyes. His blessings gave them hope, but he wonders if they were enough, if the spirits truly rest, or if his chants are just words lost in the night. Tomorrow, he'll perform another ritual for a boy named Tao, lost to a fall in the hills. Dao's family, desperate and poor, came to him with offerings of rice and a single coin, their eyes pleading for his help. Madame Li arranged the match, a deceased bride named Ling, her bones delivered in a box that Master Zhou knows not to question. He'll chant, scatter salt, burn joss paper, his voice a steady guide through the ritual. But tonight, as he prepares, he feels the weight of his role, the burden of blessing a union built on secrets. He knows of Deng the body trader, though they've never met. He knows of Madame Li's lies, her stories of virtuous girls to mask the truth of bones bought in shadows. He accepts them, as he must, to keep King Shui's faith intact, but the knowledge sits heavy, a stone in his heart. Master Zhou rises, his knees stiff, and steps to the small altar in his hut. He lights a stick of incense, its smoke curling upward, a prayer for guidance, for strength. He thinks of the village, of its altars, its rituals, its people bound by a faith he's sworn to uphold. King Shui believes in the power of ghost marriages, in the need to honor the dead, to quiet their restless calls. Master Zhou's chants are the village's heartbeat, his blessings a shield against misfortune. But he's seen rituals fail not in ceremony, but in spirit. He remembers a girl, years ago, whose ghost marriage brought no peace. Her family's crops withered, their dreams haunted by her presence. The village blamed her, said her heart was unwilling. But Master Zhou wondered if the fault was his, if his blessing lacked the faith it needed. Outside the night is still, the river a soft whisper, the stars hidden but watching. Master Zhou steps to the door, the air cool against his face, his eyes on the village's faint lights. He thinks of Zhu, now a ghost bride, her life tied to Chun's tablet, her love a burden she carries alone. He thinks of Lian, who vowed to tend Wei's shrine, her youth a sacrifice to tradition. He wonders what they believe, if they trust his chants, or if they too feel the doubt that gnaws at him. The village sees him as a pillar, a man who speaks to the spirits, but Master Zhou feels human, frail, his faith tested by the secrets he keeps. He knows the bones of Ling, like those of Mei Ling, came from Deng's trade, their origins a shadow he cannot shine light on. His blessing will sanctify them, but the act feels hollow, a ritual performed for the living more than the dead. He returns to his scroll, his hands tracing the characters, his mind on the ceremony to come. He'll stand before Dao's tablet, his voice steady, his chants precise, guiding the family through their grief. He'll scatter salt, burn paper, call to the ancestors, his blessing a promise of peace. But in his heart he'll carry the weight of his doubt, the fear that his words are not enough, that the spirits see through the lies. Master Zhou is King Shui's priest, but he's also a man, caught between faith and the truths he cannot speak. The village depends on him, its balance resting on his shoulders, but the weight is heavy. His reluctance a secret he guards as carefully as Madame Li guards hers. The candle burns low, its flame a faint glow against the night. Master Zhou lies down, his mat cold, his eyes tracing the shadows on the ceiling. He wonders if the spirits hear him, if they accept his blessings, or if they wander, restless, their calls unanswered. In King Shui, the priest's role is sacred, but it's also a burden, a dance between faith and doubt that shapes every ritual. Master Zhou's story is one of many, a thread in the village's tapestry of love and loss, of traditions that bind and break. As we'll see, not every blessing brought peace, and not every ritual could quiet the spirit's demands. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore a darker tale, where a stolen bride cast a shadow over King Shui's faith. The night in King Shui is a heavy cloak, the village submerged in darkness, its silence broken only by the soft rustle of wind through the trees and the distant murmur of the river. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and the faint, acrid trace of smoke from a fire long extinguished beyond the village. In the grove of twisted trees, shadows move with purpose, their steps silent but heavy with intent. Deng the body trader navigates the uneven ground, his sack slung over his shoulder, its contents a secret that weighs heavier than the bones inside. Tonight the grove is not just a market but a crime scene, a place where a bride was stolen from her grave to serve the living. This is the story of a darker deed, a ghost marriage built on violation, where the line between duty and desecration was crossed, casting a shadow over King Shui's faith. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's step into the grove, where the stolen bride's tale unfolds. A haunting reminder of the cost of tradition. Deng moves swiftly, his eyes scanning the darkness, his breath shallow in the cool night air. The grove is familiar, its paths worn by his countless visits, its graves a map he knows by heart. Tonight, he's here for a specific purpose. A family in King Shui, desperate for a ghost bride, has paid Madame Li a sum Deng cannot refuse. The boy, named Hao, died in a cart accident, his body crushed, his spirit left unwed. His family, wealthy, but grieving, demanded a bride, and Madame Li turned to Deng, her voice low, her instructions clear: find a body, no questions asked. Deng chose a grave far from King Shui, in a forgotten cemetery where floods had loosened the earth, where no one would notice a disturbance. The bones he carries now belong to a girl he's named Meiyun, a fiction to give her remains a story. But the truth is, darker, she was stolen, her grave violated, her rests broken to serve a ritual she never chose. The sack is heavy, the bones inside wrapped in coarse cloth, their weight a reminder of Deng's deed. He's done this before too, many times to count, but this night feels different. The grave was fresh, the earth still soft, the marker knew a girl buried only months ago, her family likely still grieving. Deng's spade moved quickly, his hand steady, but his heart faltered. A rare moment of doubt in a trade he's learned to numb himself to. He tells himself it's for the greater good, that Hao's spirit needs this, that King Shui's balance depends on it. But the memory of the grave, of the wooden marker tipped into the mud, lingers like a ghost. He wonders who she was, if her family will know, if her spirit will haunt him for this theft. The grove is silent, its trees looming like judges, the branches clawing at the sky. In King Shui, Madame Li waits in a hut, her lamp burning low, her crimson robes folded beside her. She knows what Deng carries, knows the truth behind Meiyun's bones. She's crafted a story for Hao's family, a virtuous girl, taken by illness, her spirit eager for a match. The lie is seamless, honed by years of practice, but it sits heavy in her chest. She thinks of Wei's marriage, of Mei Ling's bones, of the secrets she's kept to maintain King Shui's faith. This time, the weight is heavier, the theft more brazen. She knows the risks if the village learns of the stolen bride. Their trust in her, in the rituals, could unravel. But she pushes the thought away, focusing on the silver Hao's family paid, on the ritual she overseed, on the peace she promised. Her hands trace the jade ring on her finger, a nervous habit. As she waits for Deng's knock, Hao single quotes as family prepares for the ceremony, unaware of the shadows behind it. His mother, Li Fen, arranges offerings, rice wine, a stack of joss paper, her hands trembling with grief and hope. His father, Washan, polishes Hao's tablet, his eyes fixed on the carved characters, his heart clinging to the belief that this marriage will quiet his son's spirit. They trust Madame Li, trust Master Zhou's chants, trust the traditions that have guided King Shui for centuries. They don't know about the grove, about Deng, about the grave that lies empty miles away. The bones of Mayun will be buried beside Hao's, their union sealed with fire and prayer. But the truth is a shadow that lingers, a crack in the ritual's foundation. Li Fen dreams of her son, his smile bright, but lately her dreams are troubled, his face pale, his eyes searching. She hopes the ghost marriage will bring him peace, but the doubt is there. A whisper she cannot name. Deng reaches the village, his steps quickening as he nears Madame Li's hut. The lanterns are dim, the paths empty, the night his ally in this grim task. He knocks softly, and Madame Li opens the door, her face unreadable, her hands accepting the sack with a nod. The exchange is wordless, the silver coins heavy in Deng's palm there wait a poor match for the burden in his heart. He turns away, the grove calling him back, its shadows a refuge and a curse. He thinks of Mayun, of the life she might have lived, of the family who may never know her grave is empty. He tells himself it's just work, a necessity for king rituals. But the lie feels thin, the stolen bride a weight he cannot shed on the village. The ceremony looms, the preparations a quiet hum of hope and fear. Master Zhou will chant, his voice reluctant but steady, his blessing a shield against the truth. Hao's family will burn the joss paper, their flames a dance for a bride they believe in, a girl they'll never know. The village will watch, their faith in the ritual unshaken, their whispers of respect for the family's devotion. But the stolen bride's shadow lingers, a secret that binds Deng, Madame Li, and the earth itself. In King Shui, ghost marriages are sacred, but their cost is written in stolen bones, in violated graves, in hearts that carry the weight of deeds unspoken. The village believes in the balance, but some prices are too high, some spirits too restless to be calmed. The night deepens, the clouds parting to reveal a cold sliver of moonlight. King Shui sleeps, its faith intact, but the grove holds its secrets, its earth marked by the theft of Mayun. Deng walks away, his sack empty, his heart full of shadows. The stolen bride is a story untold, a wound in King Shui's tapestry that may yet unravel. As we'll see, not every ritual brought peace, and not every secret stayed buried. The night holds more tales, waiting to be whispered. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the silence after the ritual, where King Shui faced the aftermath of its traditions. The night in King Shui is a deep, enveloping hush, the village cradled in darkness, its silence broken only by the soft whisper of the river and the occasional rustle of leaves. The air is cool, scented with the faint sweetness of wildflowers, and the lingering trace of ash from fires burned in offering. The ancestral shrine stands quiet, its lanterns dim, the tablets of Hao and his stolen bride Mayun now joined in a grave beyond the village. The ritual is done, the chants of Master Zhou faded, the joss paper reduced to ash scattered by the wind. But for Hao's family, Li Fen and Wei Shen, the silence after the ritual is not one of peace, but of questions, of doubts that linger like shadows in the heart. Tonight we step into the aftermath, into the quiet that follows King ghost marriages, where the living grapple with the cost of their devotion, where the silence speaks louder than words. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with Hao's family into a night where the weight of tradition lingers. Heavy as the earth they buried. Li Fen sits in her home, a modest house near the village square, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes fixed on the shrine where Hao's tablet rests. The room smells of incense and polished wood, the air heavy with the memory of the ritual. The lantern's glow is soft, casting shadows that seem to move, as if Hao's spirit lingers nearby. Li Fen is a woman worn by grief, her face lined with years of toil and loss. Hao was her only son, a boy of 20 whose strength carried their family, whose dreams of building a better life filled her with hope. His death in the cart accident, a wheel broken, a load too heavy shattered her world, leaving her with a tablet and a duty to honor him. The ghost marriage was her offering, a desperate act to give him peace, to protect King Shui from his restless spirit. But now, in the silence, she feels no comfort, only a hollow ache, a question she cannot voice. Was it enough? Wei Shen, her husband, stands in the courtyard, his hands gripping a worn hoe, his eyes on the stars that pierce the night. The ritual cost them dearly, silver saved over years, fields mortgaged, a future now uncertain. He thinks of Hao, of his laughter, his strength, the way he'd lift the heaviest loads with a grin. Wei Shen believed in the ghost marriage, in Madame Li's promises, in Master Zhou's chants. He trusted the bones of Mayun, accepted her story, as a virtuous girl, a fitting bride. But the silence after the ritual is heavy, filled with doubts he cannot shake. He wonders about those bones, about the grove where Deng works, about the secrets Madame Li keeps. The village believes in the ritual, in the balance it restores. But Wei Shen feels the weight of what they've done, the price they've paid for, a peace that feels out of reach. The village around them is quiet, its people asleep, their own altars lit with similar hopes. But the silence after the ritual is a shared experience, a moment when King Shui holds its breath, waiting for signs that the spirits are at rest. Li Fin thinks of Mei, Wei's mother, whose own ghost marriage for her son left her with dreams of his restless face. She thinks of Zhu, the living bride, whose love for Jun binds her to a tablet, her life marked by the village's gaze. Li Fin wonders if they feel this silence, too, this emptiness that follows the fire and chance. She rises, her steps slow, and lights a stick of incense, its smoke curling upward. A fragile prayer for how. The scent is sharp, grounding, but it cannot fill the void in her heart. She imagines how with Mei Yun their spirits joined, but the image wavers, her doubt a shadow that grows in the quiet dort. Wei Shan steps inside, his whole left leaning against the wall, his hands cold from the night air. He sees Li Fin at the shrine, her hands trembling, her eyes glistening. He wants to speak, to share his doubts, but the words feel too heavy, too dangerous. He thinks of the ritual, of the flames that consumed the joss paper, of the box of bones Madame Li presented with such reverence. He trusted her, trusted the tradition, but the silence now feels like a judgment, a sign that something was amiss. He remembers a story old Zhong told, of a ghost marriage that failed, its bride's spirit angry, the village struck by flood. Wei Shan pushes the thought away, but it lingers, a fear that Hao's spirit is not at rest, that Mei Hun's bones were not what they seemed. The silence after the ritual is a space for such fears, a moment where faith falters, and the heart searches for answers. The village carries on, its rhythm steady but shadowed. Neighbors pass Li Fin at the market, their nods kind but their eyes searching, as if looking for signs of Hao's peace. Auntie Lin, by the river, shares a quiet word, her own son's ghost marriage a memory that binds them. She speaks of dreams, of omens, of the need to keep the shrine tended. The incense lit, Li Fin listens, her heart heavy, her mind on the grove, on Deng, on the secrets she cannot ask about. The village believes in the ghost marriages, in the power of the rituals to quiet the dead. But the silence after is a test, a moment when doubts creep in, when the living wonder if they've done enough. Li Fin and Wei Shan carry this silence, their grief a private wound, their hope a fragile flame against the dark dot. Li Fin kneels again, her hands arranging fresh flowers before Hao's tablet, her prayers a whisper in the night. She imagines him smiling, his spirit at ease, but the silence offers no comfort, no sign. Wei Shan joins her, his silence a shared language, their grief a bond stronger than words. They think of their fields, now at risk, of the silver spent, of the bones buried in haste. They wonder if Hao knows their love, if Mei Yun's spirit accepts him, or if the ritual was a hollow act, a bargain built on shadows. The silence after the ritual is their burden, a weight that shapes their days, their dreams, their faith. In King Shui, the living serve the dead, but the cost is a quiet that speaks of loss, of questions unanswered, of a balance that feels just, out of reach. The night deepens, the village a hush, its lanterns fading as the stars grow brighter. Li Fin and Wei Shan lie down, their mats cold, their hearts heavy with the silence after the ritual. They are one family among many, their story a thread in King Shui's tapestry of love and sacrifice. As we'll see, not every silence brought peace, and not every ritual could mend the divide between worlds. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told, of those who sought harmony and those who found only shadows. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the modern echoes of these traditions, where King Shui's past still whispers in the present. The night in King Shui has faded into memory, its lanterns and shrines now echoes of a distant past, but the village's spirit lingers, carried forward through time. The modern world hums with a different rhythm, cities pulse with neon lights, highways stretch where paths once wound, and the scent of jasmine is drowned by the exhaust of progress. Yet, in rural corners of China, in villages not unlike King Shui, the traditions of ghost marriages whisper on, their forms changed but their essence enduring. Tonight, we step out of the ancient village and into the present, where the rituals of the past cast long shadows, where the beliefs that bound the living to the dead still shape lives in subtle, haunting ways. This is a story of modern echoes, of how King Shui's ghost marriages live on in new forms, their weight felt in hearts and homes far beyond the village's hills. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's explore the threads that connect the past to the present, where tradition adapts but never fully fades. Imagine a small town in modern China, its streets lined with concrete houses, their rooftops dotted with satellite dishes. In one such home, a woman named Li Huan kneels before a small altar, her hands lighting incense, its smoke curling upward as it did for Mei centuries ago. The altar holds a tablet, not of wood but of polished stone, inscribed with the name of her brother, Ming, who died young in a car accident. Li Huan is in her 30s, her life a blend of tradition and modernity. She works in a nearby factory, her phone buzzing with messages, but her heart is tied to the rituals she learned from her grandmother. Ming died unwed, and though ghost marriages are rare now, frowned upon by urban laws and modern sensibilities. Li Huan feels the pull of duty. She's arranged a symbolic union, not with bones or a living bride, but with a paper effigy, a stand-in for a spirit bride, burned in a quiet ceremony to honor Ming's soul. This is the modern echo of King Shui's traditions, a practice reshaped by time but rooted in the same beliefs. Ghost marriages, once common, have dwindled in China's cities, where government regulations ban the trade in bodies and public opinion leans toward progress. But in rural areas, the rituals persist, adapted to fit a world of smartphones and high-speed trains. Families no longer dig graves or barter bones. Instead, they burn paper figures, brides and grooms crafted with care, dressed in red, sent to the afterlife in flames. Li Huan's ceremony was simple, held in her backyard, the smoke rising under a sky lit by distant city lights. She paid a local artisan to craft the paper bride, her features delicate, her dress a nod to the past. The act was private, shared only with her parents, their prayers a whisper of King Shui's chants, their hope the same to quiet Ming's spirit, to protect their family from misfortune. Li Huan's story is not unique. Across rural China, families honored the dead in ways that echo King Shui's rituals. In a village not far from hers, a man named Wei burns paper offerings for his sister, a young woman lost to illness, her spirit paired with a paper groom in a ceremony that mirrors the past. In another town, a family consults a modern matchmaker, not Madame Li, but a woman who deals in symbolic unions, arranging rituals with effigies instead of bones. These matchmakers are fewer now, their trade quieter, but they carry the same weight, their stories weaving hope into tradition. The beliefs that drove King Shui Confucian duty, Taoist harmony, the fear of restless spirits still linger, their power softened but not gone. Families like Li Huan's feel the presence of the dead. Their altars a testament to a faith that time cannot fully erase. But the modern world brings new tensions. Li Huan's friends, urban and skeptical, question her rituals, their voices tinged with amusement or concern. They see ghost marriages as relics, superstitions out of place in a world of science and progress. Li Huan listens, her smile polite, but her heart holds firm. She dreams of Ming, his face pale but smiling, and believes her offerings keep him at peace. Her parents, older and steeped in tradition, nod in approval, but her younger brother, a college student, hesitates, his eyes reflecting the same doubts Lian once held. The villagers' whispers are quieter now, replaced by online forums, where debates about tradition clash with calls for modernity. Yet the rituals persist, a quiet rebellion against change, a thread that ties Li Huan to Mei, to Zhu, to the women of King Shui, who knelt before shrines centuries ago. The cost of these modern rituals is different but no less real. Li Huan spent savings on the paper bride, money meant for a new phone, a small luxury in her factory life. Her parents, retired and frugal, gave up a month's pension to pay for the ceremony, their faith outweighing their need. The price is not just financial, it's emotional, a weight of duty that binds Li Huan to her brother, to her family, to a past she cannot fully explain. She thinks of the stories her grandmother told, of King Shui's ghost marriages, of bones and living brides, of sacrifices made in the name of honor. Those stories feel distant, but their echo is clear in her altar, in the incense she burns, in the hope that Ming is not alone. The modern world may judge, but Li Huan's faith is her own. A quiet act of love in a changing world. Outside, the town hums with life, its streets alive with the glow of shop signs, the chatter of neighbors. Li Huan steps to her door, the night air cool against her face, the stars faint but present. She thinks of King Shui, a village she's never seen but feels in her bones, its traditions carried forward in her prayers. She wonders if Ming knows, if his spirit feels her love, or if the paper bride was just ash, lost to the wind. The modern echoes of ghost marriages are softer, their rituals simpler, but their weight is the same: a connection to the dead, a duty to the living, a balance that holds families together. Li Huan's story is one of many, a thread in a tapestry that stretches from King Shui to the present, woven with love and sacrifice. The night is still, the town a quiet echo of King Shui's hush, its altars a reminder of the past. Li Huan returns to her altar, her hands lighting another stick of incense. Its smoke a fragile bridge to Ming. The modern world may change, but the ties that bind the living to the dead endure. Their echoes a whisper in the heart. As we'll see, not every heart could bear these traditions, and not every ritual brought the peace it promised. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we follow an outcast's tale, where one woman's defiance challenged King Shui's traditions. The night in King Shui is a soft, enveloping darkness, the village cradled in silence, its paths bathed in the pale glow of moonlight filtering through scattered clouds. The air carries the scent of damp earth and the faint sweetness of wildflowers, a whisper of life in the stillness. At the edge of the village, near the river's bend, a small hut stands alone, its thatched roof sagging, its walls weathered by time. Inside, a woman named Chen sits by a single lantern, her hands weaving a basket, her eyes distant with memories of a life reshaped by defiance. Chen is a ghost bride, but unlike Zhu or Yan, she refused the role, rejecting a marriage to a spirit, a choice that marked her as an outcast in King Shui's eyes. Tonight, we step into her story, into the tale of a woman whose rebellion against tradition came at a cost, her heart a battleground of courage and loneliness. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk with Chen into a night where one woman's defiance challenged the village's faith, casting her into the shadows of King Shui. Chen's hut is small, its interior sparse but warm, the air scented with dried herbs and the faint smoke of the lantern. Her hands move with practiced ease, weaving reeds into a basket, but her mind is elsewhere, tracing the path that led her here. She's 30 now, her face lined with a quiet strength, her eyes carrying a fire that time has not dimmed. Years ago, when she was 20, her family faced ruined debts from a failed harvest, a home at risk, a future slipping away. Madame Li came, her crimson robes a stark contrast to their poverty, offering a ghost marriage to save them. The groom was a boy named Feng, lost to illness, his family wealthy and desperate for a bride. Chen was their choice, her life the price for her family's survival. But unlike Zhu, who bowed to Chen's tablet, or Yan, who was spared, Chen said no, her voice steady, her heart resolute, refusing to bind herself to a spirit she didn't know. The refusal was a shock, a ripple that spread through King Shui like a stone dropped in the river. In a village where tradition was law, where the living served the dead, Chen's defiance was unthinkable. Her parents, wailing and Bao, pleaded with her, their voices torn between love and fear. They spoke of duty, of the ancestors' wrath, of the misfortune that could follow a restless spirit. But Chen held firm, her heart fueled by a fire she couldn't explain. She loved her family, felt their desperation, but she couldn't surrender her life to a tablet, to a ritual that felt like a cage. She saw the ghost brides women like Xu, their days spent tending shrines, their nights haunted by whispers, and knew she wanted more, a life of her own, not one bound to the dead. Her refusal saved her heart, but it cost her everything else: her family's trust, the village's respect, a place in King Shui's heart. The village's judgment was swift, its whispers sharp as knives. Neighbors who once smiled now turned away, their eyes cold, their voices low with tales of Chen's selfishness. Old Zhang, the storyteller, wove her into his tales, a cautionary figure who defied the ancestors, risking their wrath. At the market, vendors like Meifang nodded politely but kept their distance, their baskets heavier with pity than goods. Chen felt the weight of their gaze, each glance a reminder of her choice. She moved to the hut by the river, a gift from a distant aunt, who pitied her and built a life apart, her days filled with weaving, her nights with silence. The village called her an outcast, a woman who broke the balance, who invited misfortune. When a drought struck the next year, some pointed to her, their whispers blaming her defiance for the dry fields, the empty nets. Chen's hands pause, the basket half finished, the lantern's glow casting shadows that dance like memories. She thinks of Feng, the boy she never knew, whose tablet remains unpaired, his spirit restless in King Shui's eyes. She wonders if he haunts her, if the village's fears are true, or if her choice was a freedom he might have understood. She dreams sometimes, not of Feng but of a life she might have had, laughter by the river, a home filled with love, a future unshackled by tradition. Those dreams are fleeting, replaced by the reality of her solitude, the weight of King Shui's judgment. She thinks of Zhu, now a ghost bride, her love for Zhan, a chain she wears with grace. She thinks of Yan, spared but marked, her life a different kind of sacrifice. Chen's defiance set her apart, but it didn't free her from the village's shadows, from the loneliness that clings like damp air. Outside, the river murmurs its song, a companion in her solitude. Chen steps to the door, the night air cool against her face, the moonlight painting her hut in silver. She sees king lanterns faint in the distance, and feels the village's pulse, its faith in traditions she couldn't embrace. She knows the stories old Zhong's tales of spirits calmed by ghost marriages, of families blessed by their devotion. But she knows darker tales too, of graves robbed, of bones traded, of women like her who paid for their choices with exile. Chen's heart is strong, but it's also heavy, her defiance a light that burns alone. She wonders if the village will ever forgive her, if the ancestors judge her, or if her choice was a spark that might one day change King Shui's ways. The lantern flickers, its flame a fragile glow against the night. Chen returns to her weaving, her hands moving again, her basket a small act of creation in a world that turned from her. She's an outcast, but she's also a survivor, her life a testament to the courage it takes to defy tradition. Her story is a warning, but also a whisper of change, a crack in the village's faith. She thinks of Lian Wei's sister, who vowed to tend a shrine, her youth a sacrifice Chen couldn't make. She hopes Lian finds peace, but fears she find only shadows, like so many before her. Chen's tale is one of many, a thread in King Shui's tapestry, woven with rebellion and regret, with strength and solitude. The night deepens, the village a hush, its river a soft song in the darkness. Chen lies down, her mat cold, her heart a fire that refuses to fade. King Shui's traditions are strong, but her defiance is stronger, a choice that reshaped her life and left a mark on the village. As we'll see, not every heart could bear the weight of tradition, and not every ritual brought the peace it promised. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the fire that binds, where King Shui's rituals burned bright with hope and fear. The night in King Shui is a deep, enveloping hush, the village wrapped in shadows that seem to pulse with memory. The air is cool, scented with the faint sweetness of wildflowers and the sharp tang of smoke, a lingering echo of rituals performed under the stars. In a clearing near the ancestral graves, a small fire burns, its flames casting a warm glow against the darkness, dancing on the faces of a gathered family. The flickering light illuminates the tablets of a young man, Liang, and his ghost bride, Jia, their names carved in wood, their union sealed by tradition. The family Liang's mother, Mayu, his father, Jian, and his younger brother Tai stand in a circle, their hands clutching joss paper, their eyes fixed on the fire. Tonight, we step into the heart of the ritual that binds King Shui into the fire that carries offerings to the dead, a fleeting dance of flames that holds the village's hopes and fears. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk through the firelight, where the fire that binds weaves love, duty, and sacrifice into King Shui's tapestry. The clearing is small, ringed by stones worn smooth by time, the ground soft with the scent of earth and ash. Mayu kneels by the fire, her hands steady as she lights a sheet of joss paper, its edges curling as the flames take hold. The smoke rises, thick and gray, spiraling upward like a prayer, carrying wealth to Liang in the afterlife. Her face is lined, her eyes heavy with grief for her son, lost to a fall in the hills, his life cut short at 22. The ghost marriage was her vow, a desperate act to give him peace, to ensure his spirit wasn't alone. The fire is her offering, its warmth a fleeting comfort against the cold ache in her heart. She imagines Liang, his smile bright, walking with Jia, the bride whose bones rest beside his, their spirits bound by the flames she tends. The fire crackles, its light dancing, and Mayu feels a flicker of hope, a belief that her son is watching, that he feels her love. Jian stands beside her, his hands gripping a stack of paper coins, his eyes fixed on the flames. He's a man of few words, his strength worn down by years in the fields, by the loss of his son. The ghost marriage cost them dearly, savings gone, a debt to Madame Li that will take years to repay. He trusts the ritual, trusts Master Zhou's chants, trusts the fire to carry their offerings to Liang. But the flames also burn with questions, with doubts about the bones of Jia, about the secrets Madame Li keeps. Jian pushes the thoughts away, focusing on the fire, on the smoke that rises to the stars. He adds his coins to the flames, watching them blacken and curl, their ash a gift to his son. The fire is a bridge, a connection to Liang, but it's also a reminder of the cost, of the fields they've risked, of the silence that follows. Tai, their younger son, stands at the edge, his hands trembling as he holds a paper bride, its red dress painted with care, its form a symbol of Jia. At 17, Tai is caught between youth and the weight of tradition, his heart torn by the loss of his brother. Liang was his hero, the one who taught him to fish, to dream beyond King Hills. The ghost marriage feels strange to him, a ritual he doesn't fully understand. But he sees the hope in his mother's eyes, the resolve in his father's frame, and he wants to believe. He lights the paper bride, its flames leaping higher, its smoke joining the spiral above. The fire's heat is intense, but it cannot warm the chill in his heart. The fear that Liang's spirit is not at rest, that the bones of Jia were not what they seemed. The paper bride dances in the flames, her form dissolving into ash, a fleeting figure that binds Tai to his brother, to a tradition he's only beginning to question. In King Shui, the fire that binds is a sacred act, a ritual that defines the village's faith. Every family knows it, their altars littered with the ashes of offerings burned for loved ones. The joss paper, gold ingots, silver coins, delicate brides crafted with reverence, each fold a prayer, each flame a hope. The village believes in the power of the fire, in its ability to reach the afterlife, to satisfy the spirits who watch. Mayu's hands move again, adding more paper, the flames growing brighter, the smoke thicker. She imagines Liang receiving the wealth, the companionship, the love she sent. But the fire also burns with memories of Liang's laughter, his strength, his dreams cut short. She wonders if he sees this, if Jia's spirit dances with him, or if the flames are all they have. A fleeting act in a world of shadows. The village has seen countless fires, each one a story of love and loss. Across the path, Auntie Lin burns paper for her son, her hands steady, her heart heavy with the same hopes. In the square, Old Zhong tells tales of fires that calmed spirits, of families blessed by their devotion. But there are darker tales, too, of fires that failed, of spirits who rejected their offerings, of villages struck by misfortune. Tai listens to these stories, his mind racing with questions. He thinks of Chen, the outcast who refused a ghost marriage, her defiance a whisper, of rebellion in King Shui. He wonders if she was right, if the fire that binds is a chain, not a bridge. But he sees his parents' faith, their grief, and he lights another sheet, the flames a promise to Liang. A vow he hopes is enough. The fire burns low now, its glow fading, the smoke thinning as it rises to the stars. Mei Yu kneels, her hands arranging the ashes, her prayers a whisper in the night. Jian stands beside her, his silence a shared language, their grief a bond that holds them together. Tai watches, his heart a tangle of love and doubt, his youth a fragile shield against the weight of tradition. The fire that binds is King Shui's heartbeat, a ritual that weaves the living to the dead. But it's also a question, a hope that burns bright but leaves ash in its wake. The family gathers the remains, scattering them gently. A final offering to Liang, to Jaya, to the ancestors who watch. The clearing is quiet now, the night reclaiming its hush, the village unaware of the doubts that linger in the fire's wake. This is the fire that binds, a story of a family's devotion, of flames that carry hope and fear to the afterlife. In King Shui, the fire is sacred, but its light casts shadows, its warmth a fleeting comfort against the weight of loss. Mei Yu and Tai are one family among many, their story a thread in a tapestry woven with sacrifice and faith. As we'll see, not every fire brought peace, and not every ritual could quiet the spirit's call. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the weight of ancestral duty, where King Shui's traditions bound every heart to the past. The night in King Shui is a deep, resonant stillness, the village cloaked in shadows that seem to hold the weight of centuries. The air is cool, laced with the scent of damp earth and the faint sweetness of osmanthus flowers, their fragrance a whisper of life in the darkness. In the heart of the village, the ancestral shrine stands as a silent sentinel, its tablets glowing faintly under the flicker of a single lantern. Mei Yu Liang's mother walks slowly toward it, her hands clutching a small bundle of joss paper, her heart heavy with the duty that binds her to her son and the ancestors before him. The ghost marriage for Liang is complete, his spirit joined to Jia's, but the weight of ancestral duty remains, a chain that links the living to the dead across generations. Tonight, we step into the core of King Shui's beliefs, into the obligation to honor those who came before, a duty that shaped every ritual, every sacrifice, every heart in the village. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's explore the weight of ancestral duty, where King Shui's faith tethered its people to a past that never truly faded. Mei Yu's steps are soft, her breath visible in the cool night air as she approaches the shrine. The village is hushed, its paths empty, its lanterns dim, but the presence of the ancestors feels alive, their spirits watching from the tablets that line the shrine. Mei Yu kneels, her hands trembling as she lights a stick of incense, its smoke curling upward, a fragile thread to Liang and the generations before him. She thinks of her son, his smile bright, his strength a pillar for their family, lost to a fall in the hills. The ghost marriage was her offering, a way to ensure his peace, to honor the ancestors who demand harmony. But the duty is not just to Liang, it's to her parents, her grandparents, the lineage that stretches back through King Shui's history. Each name a weight she carries, a call she must answer, and King Shui ancestral duty is the village's heartbeat, a belief rooted in Confucianism, in the sacred bond of family that transcends death. Mei Yu was raised on this, her mother teaching her to tend the shrine, to burn offerings, to speak the names of the dead with reverence. The ancestors are not gone, they are present, their spirits guiding, judging, influencing the fortunes of the living. An unwed spirit, like Liang's, is a fracture in this bond, a danger to the family, the village, the cosmos itself. Mei Yu remembers her father's stories, told by the fire, of ancestors who blessed obedient families with bountiful harvests, of those who cursed neglect with drought or illness. These tales were King Shui's law, shaping every ritual, every ghost marriage, every prayer whispered in the night. Mei Yu's hands move with care, arranging the joss paper before Liang's tablet, her fingers tracing his name. She thinks of Jaya, the bride whose bones rest with his, their union a promise to the ancestors. But the memory of the ritual, of Madame Li's smooth assurances, of the bones delivered in secrecy, stirs a quiet doubt. Was Jia's spirit willing, or was she a stolen bride, her rest broken to serve King Shui's faith? Mei Yu pushes the thought away, focusing on the incense, on the duty that binds her to Liang, to her ancestors, to the village. She whispers a prayer, her voice soft but steady, asking for their blessing, for Liang's peace, for the strength to carry this weight. The shrine is a sanctuary, but also a chain. Its tablets a reminder of the duty that shapes her life. Outside, King Shui is a hush, the river a soft murmur, the stars faint but watchful. Mayu thinks of her husband Jian working late in the fields, his hands worn from labor, his heart heavy with the cost of the ghost marriage. She thinks of Tai, their younger son, whose questions about tradition grow sharper, his youth a fragile rebellion against the weight of duty. Mayu wonders what he believes, if he feels the ancestors' presence, or if he sees their rituals as chains, like Chen, the outcast who refused a ghost marriage. The village's faith is strong, but its younger voices Tai Kai, others whisper of change, their doubts a crack in the foundation. Maju feels this tension, but her duty is clear. Her love for Liang, for her ancestors, a fire that burns through doubt. The village carries this duty in every home, every altar, every ritual. Across the path, Auntie Lin tends her son's shrine, her hands arranging rice, her prayers a mirror to Mayu's in the square. Old Zhang tells stories of ancestors honored, of families blessed, but also of those who failed. Their neglect, a curse on the land. Mayu knows these tales, feels their weight, but her duty is personal, a bond to Liang that transcends the village's gaze. She thinks of the ghost marriage, of the fire that burned for him, of the paper bride that danced in the flames. She hopes it was enough, that Liang's spirit is at rest, that the ancestors approve. But the silence of the shrine, the stillness of the tablets, offers no answers, only the weight of duty. Heavy as the earth. May she rises, her knees stiff, her hands clutching the joss paper. She steps outside, the night air cool against her face, the village a quiet tapestry of light and shadow. She thinks of King Shui's past, of the families who came before, their sacrifices woven into the village's soul. She thinks of Zhu, bound to Chun's spirit, her love a chain she wears with grace. She thinks of Chen, whose defiance marked her as an outcast, her courage a light in the darkness. Mei, whose duty is her strength, but also her burden, a weight that shapes her days, her dreams, her prayers. She wonders if Liang knows, if the ancestors see her, or if her offerings are lost to the night, a duty fulfilled but unanswered. The lantern in the shrine flickers, its glow a fragile promise against the dark. Maju returns, lighting the joss paper, watching the flames consume it, their smoke rising to the stars. The act is a ritual, a duty, a love that binds her to Liang, to the ancestors, to King Shui. But the weight of that duty is ever present, a chain that holds her heart, a question that lingers in the silence. In King Shui, ancestral duty is everything, but its cost is a shadow that touches every life. Mayu's story is one of many, a thread in a tapestry woven with faith and sacrifice. As we'll see, not every duty was fulfilled, and not every heart could bear its weight. The night holds more stories, waiting to be told. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore a legacy of shadows, where King Shui's traditions left a lasting mark. The night in King Shui is a deep, resonant hush, the village cloaked in a darkness that feels alive with memory. The air is cool, scented with the faint sweetness of wildflowers and the lingering trace of incense, a reminder of prayers whispered to the dead. The stars above are faint, peeking through a veil of clouds, their light a fragile echo of the lanterns that once lit King Shui's paths. In the heart of the village, the ancestral shrine stands silent, its tablets bearing the names of Wei Li, Jun, and their ghost brides, each a story etched into the village's soul. Tonight, we step beyond the rituals, beyond the individual lives of Mei, Zhu, and Chen, to explore the broader legacy of King Shui's ghost marriages, the shadows they cast across generations, the mark they left on a community bound by tradition. This is a story of a village shaped by love, fear, and sacrifice, where the past lingers like smoke, its influence felt long after the fires burned out. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk through King Shui's legacy, where the shadows of ghost marriages stretched far beyond the night. The village of King Shui was more than a collection of homes and fields. It was a living tapestry, woven with the threads of every family, every ritual, every choice made to honor the dead. Ghost marriages were its heartbeat, a tradition that defined its faith, its fears, its sense of balance. Families like Wei's, Liang's and Chun's poured their hearts into these rituals, their savings into matchmakers like Madame Li, their hopes into the flames of joss paper. The tablets in the shrine Wei and Mei Ling, Liang and Jia Jun and Zhu stand as monuments to this duty. Their names a testament to the village's belief that the dead must be cared for, their spirits quieted to protect the living. But the legacy of these marriages was not just one of peace. It was a shadow, a weight that shaped King Shui's identity. Its people, its future, walk through the village now, its paths worn by countless steps, its air heavy with the memory of rituals past. The ancient tree in the square, its branches heavy with prayer ribbons, tells of families who tied their hopes to the spirits, their offerings a plea for harmony. Old Zhong stories, once told by firelight, live on in the village's memory. Tales of ghost marriages that brought blessings, fields that flourished, families that prospered but also of those that failed, their spirits restless, their curses felt in drought or illness. These stories shaped King Shui, teaching its people to fear the unquiet dead, to honor tradition at any cost. Mei Yu, kneeling before Liang's tablet, feels this legacy, her prayers a continuation of a duty passed down through generations, a chain that binds her to her ancestors, to her son, to King Shui itself. But the legacy is not all light. It is shadowed by sacrifice, by the costs that lingered long after the rituals ended. Families like Chen and Mei's gave their savings, their fields, their future to honor Wei, their grief compounded by debt. Xu, bound to Chen's spirit, carries the village's gaze, her love a weight that isolates her, her life a shadow of what it might have been. Chen, the outcast, bears the heaviest shadow, her defiance a mark that set her apart, her loneliness a testament to the village's judgment. The bones of Mei Ling, Jia and others, bought from Deng's grim trade, cast their own shadows, secrets that Madame Li buried to preserve King Shui's faith. These sacrifices, silver dreams, lives wove a legacy that was both beautiful and brutal, a balance of love and loss that defined the village's heart. The legacy stretched beyond King Shui, touching neighboring villages, their own shrines, lit with similar hopes. The body trader's market, hidden in groves like the one Deng worked, was a shadow cast across the region. Its grim bargains a necessity for ghost marriages far and wide. Matchmakers like Madame Li carried this legacy, their stories of virtuous brides hiding the truth of stolen bones, their wealth built on the grief of others. Priests like Master Zhou, their chants reluctant but steady, bore the weight of this legacy, their blessings a fragile shield against doubt. The stories of King Shui spread, whispered by travelers, told in markets, shaping a region where the living served the dead, where tradition was a chain linking past to present. In the village, the legacy lived in its people, in the quiet moments of their lives. Tai, Liang's brother, carries it in his questions, his youth a rebellion against the weight of tradition. He thinks of Chen, of her defiance, and wonders if King Shui's faith is worth its cost. Lian Wei's sister carries it in her vow to tend the shrine, her dreams sacrificed to honor her brother. Even Kai Chun's friend feels it, his whispers of doubt a spark that could one day change the village. These younger voices are the legacy's future, their questions a crack in the foundation, a sign that King Shui's traditions may one day shift. But for now, the village holds fast, its altars lit, its rituals unbroken, its shadows a constant presence in every heart. Step to the river now, its waters glinting under the moonlight, a mirror to King Shui's past. Auntie Lin kneels there, her hands arranging flowers, her prayers a continuation of the legacy. She thinks of her son, of the ghost marriage that bound him to a bride, of the peace she hopes he's found. She feels the weight of King Shui's traditions, the duty that shaped her life, her mother's life, her grandmother's. The river carries these stories, its ripples a whisper of the past, of the sacrifices that built the village. The legacy of ghosts' marriages is not just in the tablets, the flames, the bones, it's in the people, in the faith that holds them, in the shadows that linger in their dreams. The night is still, King Shui a hush, its lanterns fading as the stars grow brighter. The legacy of its ghost marriages is a shadow that stretches across time, touching every life, every choice. Mei Yu, Tai Lian, Chonel carry it, their stories woven into a tapestry that defines King Shui's soul. The village's faith is strong, but its shadows are stronger, a reminder that every ritual, every sacrifice, left a mark. As we'll see, not every legacy was one of peace, and not every heart could bear its weight. The night holds one final story, waiting to be told. So, stay with us, let the night carry you forward, and let's uncover the next chapter of this haunting tale. If you're finding this journey into China's shadowed past as gripping as we are, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the quiet of the present, where King Shui's legacy finds its final echo. The night stretches over the memory of King Shui, its ancient paths now faded into the haze of history, its lanterns long extinguished, replaced by the glow of modern towns. The air is cool, scented with the faint sweetness of jasmine and the distant hum of city life, a world far removed from the village's quiet. Yet, the echoes of King Shui's ghost marriages linger, their shadows cast across time, touching hearts in a present shaped by progress but tethered to the past. Tonight, we step out of the village and into today, into a world where the rituals of Wei, Zhu and Chen are distant memories, but their weight still resonates in quiet acts of devotion, in stories whispered by those who remember. This is the final chapter, a meditative reflection on King Shui's legacy, where the horrors and hopes of ghost marriages find a quiet place in the present. Settle in, close your eyes, and let's walk through the stillness, where the past and present meet, bound by the threads of love and sacrifice. If you've enjoyed this journey through China's shadowed history, hit that subscribe button and join us for more tales that linger in the night. In a small town not far from where King Shui once stood, a young woman named Mei Lin kneels before a modest altar, her hands lighting a stick of incense, its smoke curling upward like a prayer. The room is modern, its walls adorned with photos and a small television flickering in the corner. but the altar is a nod to the past, a wooden tablet inscribed with her father's name. He died young, unwed, his life cut short by illness, and though ghost marriages are rare now, Malin feels the pull of tradition. She burns a paper effigy, a symbolic bride, its flames small but bright, a quiet act to honor his spirit. The scent of incense fills the air, grounding her, a bridge to the king shui of centuries ago, where Mei, Zhu, and Lian knelt in similar reverence, their hearts heavy with duty. Malin's act is a quiet echo, a modern reflection of king shui rituals. Ghost marriages are no longer common, their practice is outlawed in cities, frowned upon by a world that values progress over superstition. But in rural homes, in towns like hers, the traditions persist, softened by time but alive in the hearts of those who believe. Malin learned from her grandmother, whose stories of ghost marriages carried the weight of King Shui's past tales of living brides like Zhu, of stolen bones like Mei Ling's, of outcasts like Chen. These stories are not just history, they are a guide, a reminder that the dead are still present. There needs a duty that binds families across generations. Malin's altar is simple, but it carries the same hope as King Shui's shrines, the same fear that a spirit left unpaired could bring misfortune. The present is a world of change, where smartphones and factories have replaced rice fields and lanterns, but the quiet of King Shui's faith endures. In a nearby village, a man named Chen burns paper offerings for his sister, his hands steady, his heart tied to the traditions his parents taught him. In another town, a woman consults a modern matchmaker, not for bones but for symbolic unions, paper figures burned to honor the dead. These acts are private, often hidden from urban eyes, but they carry the weight of King Shui's legacy, the belief that the living must serve the dead, that love and duty transcend time. Malin feels this as she prays, her thoughts on her father, on the stories of King Shui, on the sacrifices that shaped her family's faith. But the present also carries doubts, echoes of the questions that stirred in King Shui's younger hearts. Malin's brother, a student in the city, watches her rituals with skepticism, his eyes reflecting the same rebellion Tai and Kai once felt. He questions the need for paper brides, the cost of incense, the relevance of traditions in a world of science. Malin listens, her smile gentle, but her heart holds firm. She dreams of her father, his face calm, and believes her offerings keep him at peace. The tension is familiar, a modern echo of King Shui's cracks, Leon's quiet doubts, Chun's defiance, Tai's unspoken rebellion. The present may be different, but the struggle between faith and doubt remains, a thread that ties today to the village of long ago. The cost of these rituals, though softer now, is still real. Malin spends money on incense and paper, small sums that could buy a meal or a book, but she sees it as a duty, a love that outweighs the price. Her parents, retired and frugal, nod in approval, their own altars lit with similar offerings. The village's legacy is not just in the rituals but in the lives they shaped, families who gave everything, like Chen and Mei, who risked their fields. Women like Zhu, whose love became a chain. Outcasts like Chen, whose defiance marked her solitude. Malin carries this legacy, her altar a quiet testament to the past, her prayers a whisper of King Shui's hopes and horrors. She wonders if her father knows, if his spirit feels her love, or if the flames are just ash, a fleeting act in a modern world. Outside, the town is alive, its streets humming with the glow of lights, the chatter of neighbors, the buzz of progress. Malin steps to her door, the night air cool against her face, the stars faint but present. She thinks of King Shui, a village lost to time but alive in her rituals, in the stories her grandmother told. She imagines Mei, kneeling before Wei's tablet, her grief a mirror to her own. She thinks of Zhu, bound to Jun and Chen, alone by the river, their lives a testament to the weight of tradition. The present is quieter, its rituals simpler, but the legacy of King Shui endures, a shadow that touches every heart that honors the dead. Malin's faith is her own, a quiet act of love in a world that moves on, a bridge to a past that shaped her. The night is still, the town a soft echo of King Shui's hush, its altars a reminder of the village's soul. Malin returns to her altar, her hands lighting another stick of incense, its smoke a final prayer for her father. The quiet of the present is a space for reflection, a moment where King Shui's horrors and hopes find a place in today's world. The legacy of ghost marriages is a whisper, a thread that binds the past to the present, a story of love, sacrifice, and the ties that never fade. This is the end of our journey through King Shui, but its echoes linger, waiting to be heard. If you've been captivated by this tale of China's shadowed past, hit that subscribe button and join us for more stories that weave through the night, connecting us to the hearts and spirits of those who came before.